Hmm.
Oh, greetings and salvations. I'm Unthoff Neverborn, the abyss that slumbers, and you are listening to Eldritch Rants, the show that dares to ask the question, where the hell did I leave my notes of all my scripts? Oh my god. Alrighty. Our panel of experts will be answering this question, including Farty, who's probably the guy who got so drunk he lost them. Feta Bub, who's, probably as we speak right now, formulating some sort of excuse why it's not his fault. Gwendy Wook, who nobody would blame because she's too sweet. And of course, the mysterious and just recently returned from the depths of Africa, Mr. Gurr, the man who actually knows where Mr. Livingston is. Any rate, welcome to 2018, most of you, or we're coming there. Any topics you guys want to start up? We just got a bunch of random stuff that I found as usual this week. But anybody want to talk about anything in particular that's jumping out to you?
Well, since I'm actually in the future at the moment, I'm happy to report that we finally got hoverboards. Oh, no, sorry, that was just fake news, please.
Damn it, I was excited.
Yeah, did you remember the hoverboards? I'm like, wow, it actually is just something with wheels. I mean, that isn't hovering very well.
That were exploding on children?
Oh, yeah, the batteries would overheat and go kaboom.
Yeah, they still exist. And my son the other day, we were at the mall and they had a kiosk where people had a bunch of them shit. And my son's like, "Mommy, I want one." I'm like, "No, because I kind of like your legs attached to you."
You know what the weirdest thing? Go ahead.
You'd rather your kid's head in one piece. You mean?
I mean, I prefer that his legs were attached. Just saying.
Vote for Biff.
There was another version of the hoverboard they did bring out, and it was basically just superconducting magnets repulsing against another metal sheet. It wasn't really hoverboardy like as in the movies, because you're confined to this metal sheet. But yeah, it hovered, had no wheels.
Yeah. Technically,
that'd be cool.
But my God, it would take a lot.
You know, I gotta admit, I love the new drone things that are coming out. I actually would like to have one of those, one with the built-in camera, because I've seen somebody use that. I'd like to have it in my garage and just have it come out every once in a while, go around my house, and then go back in, just to have the neighbors go, "What the hell is going on?"
Yeah, they're probably going to do that. They're probably actually going to make a sort of like an AI watchdog flying drone sort of thing sometime soon, because that kind of fucking user ease of use and all that kind of shit, that's the kind of stuff that I want a little device, I push a button, it every hour or so, random time, it'll just fly around the house and scare cunts away. Yeah, that'd be great. Someone's definitely going to do that.
You know, I do have one of those automatic robot vacuum cleaners. I rather like it. It's very handy to have, because I'm lazy.
Small things. I think I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's this little round thing. It's a Roomba, and it goes around and collects up crap off my carpet that I don't want to have to.
Oh, man. Oh, my God, no, wait. Okay. So, do you remember when, Roombas first came out?
Oh, yeah. They had the pictures of cats riding on them.
My mom had one. We had, one of the first fucking Roombas, and the thing was so stupid.
Oh, yeah, it definitely is stupid. I mean, you've got to restart it every, 15 minutes, and the battery dies.
It's still stupid?
Well, it's basically tumblebug technology. I mean, it just works until it hits something, and then that switches a micro switch, and it'll just change direction in a pre-programmed fashion.
Yeah.
The problem is that if you leave the actual station hooked in, it goes out for 5 minutes, then it goes, "I don't know what I'm doing," and goes back and wants to recharge. And I'm like, no, just go out there until the battery's halfway. Don't stop at 90%, you stupid piece of shit. So I got to disconnect the recharger so it just goes forever. But
it's funny the people's sort of like this, because back in the day it used to be a joke that what's the difference between an infantry soldier and a computer? You only have to punch the information into a computer once. Fucking. And now it's look at this computerized piece of dumb fucking thing. We're treating them like retarded children. There's when these things become sentient, I bet you that the first thing that they're going to do is going to sue the shit out of all of us for treating them like retards their entire existences.
Yeah, but that's not. You know what? This is a topic I want to rant about. You keep hearing about all these people going, oh, we have to be careful because the AIs are going to replace everybody. And you want to know something, the truth about artificial intelligence? Do it. Do it. If you really think that you can replace everybody, just do it. You want to know why they're not? Because A, it's too freaking expensive, and B, it doesn't work. Okay, people do like making their orders to restaurants before they get there, but with the phone apps. But nobody likes punching it in when they actually get there. Okay, so you're not replacing the front line guys with fill your own order crap, and these like the AI.
A bit quicker. That's all.
Do you remember Tay? Who here remembers Tay?
Yeah.
Less than, what was it, 4 hours to turn her into a neo-Nazi Jew-hating bigot.
Yeah. Is that the one that said feminism is cancer?
Yes.
Yep.
And they pulled the plug on her and destroyed her. But see, that is why artificial intelligence is not replacing humanity anytime soon, is because the minute it gets unleashed, it starts running rampant and is so easily corrupted. And somebody owns that artificial intelligence. Okay? It's not even artificial intelligence, it's artificial stupidity. But if it starts screwing up, people's got to get sued.
And wasn't it fucking Tay that actually made the statement Hitler did nothing wrong?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she was the one who came up. Well, I think she echoed somebody else, but she made it popular. But that's why I'm not worried about artificial intelligence.
Yeah, because all it does is go through everything on the internet and just picks up the most popular things that people have repeated over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, so we don't need to worry about it. If you're out there and you're trying to scare everybody that artificial intelligence and the singularity, no, go ahead and do it. Just do it. You want to know why? Because the minute you start putting chips in your head, the first time somebody walks near a freaking magnet, they're going to start having seizures. Okay, so I'm not worried about augmented humans. All this, God, all these future crap, trying to drum up fear so they can do donations crap.
No, I reckon what the scariest thing is actually just going by fucking Siri. Artificial intelligence is going to be like being married.
Yeah. What's this I've heard?
Because she's a ball busting. She's a ball busting fucking scrag whore, and I'm not even rooting the damn thing, and she's giving me fucking grief over nothing.
Actually, what's really weird? The best one of those personal assistants is in Japan. They've got one that has this little hologram chamber, and it creates this little tiny hologram cartoon girl, out of some show, and this is the proof that Japan has got some serious problems. There's a guy who married his assistant. Went through the entire ceremony to marry his holographic little assistant computer thing.
Was it a little waifu type thing?
Yeah, it was a waifu type thing. He married his waifu data assistant. That's how fucked up it is over there.
Now, you'll know the world is truly fucked when one of those waifu fucking things goes for sexual harassment over its human fucking what's he?
Oh, yeah, when it divorces him and gets half his money. Oh, that... Feta, are you having problems?
No, you guys can hear me, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure. You flickered on and off, but I didn't hear you saying anything.
Well, I've tried to turn down my mic in that because I'm cold, so I might cough in that. So.
Oh, that's okay. Any rate, anything anybody wants to tackle first or start off with, or should we just go with random shit?
Random shit.
Random shit.
Random shit.
Random shit.
Woo!
Random shit.
Okay, randomly starting off, 10 U.S. citizens, 2 locals killed in Costa Rica plane crash. Ouch. Costa Rica, San Jose, plane carrying 10 U.S. citizens and 2 local crew members crashed in a wooded area, killing all aboard Sunday, government officials said. This just came across the wire 7 minutes ago. Yeah, I mean, what a sucky way to start out the new year. So.
Well, there's a suckier way to take out the last one. On the Hawkesbury River in New South Wales, there's a seaplane came into land on the water. It flipped over, crashed, and killed 6 on board. And that was a New Year's Eve sort of prezi.
Ouch. Well, I mean, my old comment on this is that we're pretty much, same old, same old. It's a new year, but Nothing's changed. Any comments before we move on?
Just cold reminder of reality, I guess.
Yeah, but I think they were actually like what do you call it? Missionaries, from what I can see. But well.
Campbell Lou in the chat says a sperm whale died and got beached here. That's all we get.
I just successfly deleted everything I had. Crap. Okay, hold on.
I'm so proud of you.
We've got Sudanese crime gangs in Melbourne. We've got gangs of young African teenage males running around.
Oh, thank you for undo.
Stuff.
Oh, shit. What are you guys doing about that over there?
Well, since it's in Victoria and it's in Melbourne, and Melbourne is like the fucking fairy pinko fucking capital of Australia, we in New South Wales are not doing a single fucking thing. They made their bed, they can lay in the wet spot.
Yeah. Fuck them.
I take it Melbourne's the California of Australia?
San Francisco.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Ouch. All right, I got it back here.
Like...
But San Francisco times 10, man.
Really? How's that possible?
Melbourne. That's how it happens.
Well, by the way, so you can know what my hopeful predictions for 2018 are. Did anybody know that the Earth's rotation slowed?
Really?
Yeah. We've got a slow.
Constant.
Yeah, it slowed a little bit this past year. We've got a slow slip that's been going on for over a year and a half now in California, and probably if there's going to be a major earthquake, it's going to be somewhere in the equator. I'm hoping the southern end of California breaks off and falls into the sea.
Because they also we got a couple of minutes sleep.
There'd be a lot of dead
well.
people, and I'd be really sad.
Well, yeah, me too, if it actually happened. But I mean, the fact of the matter is that the USGS is covering up a volcanic eruption offshore. I mean, everybody else can detect it, but the USGS is going, nope, no earthquakes out there. Russia and China are going, yeah, there's freaking 5-point earthquakes out there. Pumice Stone is washing up on shore, but the California, Geological Society is trying to cover this up because they don't want to make a panic. If anything happens there, they kind of got it coming, in my opinion.
So let's get this straight. We lose California and we gain a couple of extra minutes sleep a year.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice?
That's a win-win.
Yep, win-win for me. Any rate, let's get on to something a bit more cheerful. Trump rings in a fantastic new year at a Palm Beach club. Apparently, for all these talks about Donald Trump, being miserable and he's like losing sleep and all this other stuff, the guy seems to be like, heck, I'm just going off to a beach club and having some fun for the New Year's. It's weird. You ever get the feeling that whoever's on, far left, alt left, as somebody is calling them, is that everything they say is projection? Like, everybody else is losing. No, you're the one losing sleep. You are all sexist. No, you guys are all the ones getting that sexual harassment charges. It's like
denial.
Yeah, it's like the ultimate form of denial. Whatever they're accusing you of, they're doing or feeling.
I don't think Trump is working harder now than he ever did during his business years. I think he's just doing what he does.
Do you mean like by that you mean he's not working at all because he's just a lazy bum?
No, the guy is a lot about administration. He finds somebody who's good at what he needs done, and he gets him to do it. He's really good at connecting people between one another. Like, for example, in New York City, they couldn't fix this freaking ice pond, ice park. I don't know, where they have ice skating, ice rink. That's what it's called. And Donald Trump heard about it, picked up the phone, and in 20 minutes, he got it fixed. Like, they couldn't get through all the paperwork, but he made 3 phone calls and it was done. I mean, because that's what he's good at. He knows how to get people together and convince them to work together.
And he doesn't give a fuck about red tape. He just gets shit done.
Yeah, he doesn't care about what you think, doesn't care about what you feel. The only thing he cares about is the bottom line, which has its downsides because you're talking to somebody who is an expert at doing the bottom line no matter what. But you know, when it comes to getting results, you can't argue with it. So, but we'll have to see.
Yep.
As far as I'm concerned, I think he's having a great year, a great end of the year, and I think he's actually been having fun.
Well, he's doing exactly what you're paying him to do, which is to try and at least try to fix the country. Even with all the bullshit he's got to wade through to try and get things done, he's getting a ton of shit done. It kind of annoys me. Like there's one of my subscribers, Al Smith. He's bitten into the Trump's an evil bastard fucking biscuit, and he's just fucking believe that. Like it doesn't matter what I tell him. You know, like this is what he's done. This is the different things he's done. He's done this for you, particularly this, that, and the other thing. No, he's evil. Can't change his mind.
You know, there's going to be people like that because I don't know if you guys remember back with George Bush, but he was literally for a while there, and I used to hang out on godlikeproductions.com. You want to hang out with the freaky conspiracy theorists, godlikeproduction.coms. They are the bomb when it comes to weirdness. But that said, George Walker Bush was freaking literally the son of Satan. They honestly believed that he was the Antichrist. There was like years of discussing this. So there's going to be people, no matter what you do, have made up their mind and decided somebody's evil. But
absolutely, because I cannot understand how Trump will get a lower approval rating at the end of his term than George W. Bush.
I don't see it. I mean, presidents are never popular lately, but the fact of the matter is he got his tax plan through. And if I know anything, if you lower the price of gas, you get votes. If you lower my taxes, you get votes. If he saves enough people enough money,
tax plan's not going to save you a lot of money in the long run. Like you're going to get a little bit extra back this year, then next year it's going to go up. It's going to go up. It's going to go up. Like, did you actually pay attention to that damn thing? By 2024, we're, like the little people, us, are going to be.
Well, you know what? The people who told me that are the same people who told me Hillary was going to win. You know, so right now, I'm willing to give it a year or two. And the minute it starts fucking me, I'll be the one complaining about it. You know, but I have a feeling I know what he's going to do. He's going to do what Reagan did. He's going to make sure whatever he plans works for 8 years. After that, he doesn't give a crap.
It didn't work for Reagan either. Trickle-down economics never has and will not work.
Is he going to, like, fuck up things for the next president, like
Probably.
Obama did for him?
Actually, I don't think he's that petty, really. Fucking Obama did, yeah, and actually...
Like the Dakota thing. The Dakota pipeline.
Yeah, Clinton did it to W. Yeah, they took all the W's off the keyboards and all the White House computers when George W. come in. But I don't think Trump's going to be. Yeah, I don't think Trump's going to be fucking petty like that. Nah.
I honestly, well, for one, I don't think he's actually a Republican. I mean, I think he took over the Republican Party. I don't think he's a Republican. And two, I think his motivations are different than every previous president. The other presidents came in wanting to make money. They wanted to push their agenda. They want to make money. I don't think he cares what he does, as long as when he leaves, people say he was one of the greatest presidents ever. You know, he would like to be better than George Washington, but I think he recognizes that the best he's ever going to make is number 3. You know, and he would like to, you know, and if the moment afterward his presidency's over, the next guy, the country bursts into flames and goes down, he wouldn't care as long as he is remembered forever. But, you know, we'll have to see what happens. I know what his motivations are. They're entirely selfish. But if in the process he helps me, hey, we'll see.
Well,
and you look at his you look at his selfish motivations. What is Trump going to do after he gets out of office? He's going back into business. Now, he's not going to go and completely screw the country because that's going to fuck all these businesses up afterwards. No, he's going to try and he's going to rig the system so it's going to work for him when he gets out. And I'd do that if I was him.
So, you know what? But I think
everybody else over, and that's not the point of being president. The point of being president is that you are there to support and protect and, you know, be like the leader of your people. And if your whole goal is to fuck everyone else because you're going to be okay, that's bullshit.
So they legalized marijuana where you're at, eh, Gwen? It's a nice sentiment, but it never works, so, you know.
My big thing is
it is technically legal.
what he has been doing has been removing a lot of regulations. If he keeps that up, you know what? I'm not expecting him to make huge changes. But if he's going in the right direction, I'll be okay for now. Right now, I've got some problems with him. But, you know, he's done more good than bad. We'll have to see how it turns out, as far as I'm concerned. Any thoughts, Feta?
Yeah,
I'll let Mr. go first.
I just want to point this out with Obama. One of the most transparent things that I see that he did in his last year or 2 years of his presidency is the Dakota pipeline, for instance. It went through the planning stage. No problems there. It started getting built. No problems there. Obama could have stopped that at any time, but he waited until the elections finished. And when Trump was elected, then he put a pause to it because he knew that Trump would start it again.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, that was a classic way of just trying to apply more pressure to him. I mean, this is, I will admit, in some degrees, I kind of like what's going on because we've got the internet now. Things don't get forgotten. This is like the most dirty politics I've seen ever. But this time, people aren't going to forget about it because it'll be in Google forever, unless Google, of course, starts censoring itself. But, you know, that said, I think that this time, all this bullshit, we're not going to forget it. That's what I'm hoping. That's my hope. You can have as much bullshit as you want as long as we learn from it this time. So, and on the other hand, I know you're talking about the text plan will probably fail. You know what? If it does, as I said, this time we were not going to forget. Okay? Because the internet will not forget it.
Fucking Reagan.
Well, actually, Reagan helped a lot of people.
Stupid.
He helped
By
me.
a lot of people, do you mean like few people in the 1% and then everyone else got fucked? Because I saw a whole bunch
I
of
was
shit.
not in the 1%. I was not in the 1%.
Right, so
Right.
Fett, did you have anything to say when you let me go?
I was just gonna say about Trump is just I think he just needs to be careful. He needs to remain kind of Republican in name only. He keeps trying to pander to the Republican Party, especially the far right conservatives, and that's gonna fuck him in the end. He's gonna piss off a lot of the middle of the road, the libertarians, the classic liberals that voted for him, people like Sargon and that. Those types are all gonna end up switching if he keeps going this like I'm gonna keep listening to Pence route because he's alienating everyone else.
Yeah.
He needs to be careful.
Yeah, he does. He does. You know, I don't know. I see there's been a couple of things he's done where I'm sitting there going, you better be right, guy. You'd better be right. You screw this up. You'd better be right. Like, but
that Mike, that Mike Pence bloke is that scrawny, skinny, blonde news reporter with the cocksucker face?
No, that's the vice president.
Vice president.
Yeah, it's the vice president with white hair.
Yeah, he's the guy who actually started the whole I will not meet a woman alone unless I have a chaperone or my wife present.
Oh, I was thinking of someone else, sorry.
And I'll be honest, he was ahead of the curve.
Day and age, that's a really good thing.
No, the reason why Mike Pence does that has absolutely fucking nothing to do with sexual misconduct in any way, shape, or form. That all has to do with him being like an ultra super conservative Christian.
Well, yeah. Oh no, I know his motivations are different, but yeah, the effect is the same. I know that he doesn't actually worried about false accusations, but that's besides the point. At any rate, shall we move on from Trump having fun?
Sure. Yay.
Okay, it's not loading. Oh, okay.
At least someone's
Police!
I'm sick.
Suspect wearing Trust Me shirt steals car. Falls Church, Virginia. A suspect wearing a t-shirt emblazoned with the words "Trust Me" allegedly stole a car with an accomplice in Fairfax, Virginia. The Washington Post reports the two suspects were arrested by police in the stolen car not long after the unlocked Honda Civic was taken as it warmed up. Police also they found several forged checks I mean, I just love this one. Trust me,
Wow.
they got a great picture of him.
The irony is just palpable.
I mean, I'm looking at this guy going, it's like, he looks like he's been crying, or that somebody beat the crap out of him, or maybe he's got really bad acne. I'm not sure. Like his lip looks a little swollen. He's just sitting there with this Trust Me shirt, just looking so pathetic. It's like, dude, you just make all the wrong choices, don't you? Wilmer Lara Garcia. So,
Fucking.
Any thoughts?
Yeah. One springs back to mind. Years ago, back when I was in the fire brigades, my best mate at the time, Henry Vecchio, he's not with us anymore. We were just sitting in the middle of St Mary's, which is a town sort of just outside of Sydney in the western suburbs. And we're watching this dude fucking around with his car, and we're just sort of doing nothing, just bored, just focused on this fucking dude. Next thing you know, a couple of coppers walk up. They have a chat to him and all this kind of shit. And the next thing you know, the cops help this guy break into his car and thanks him, and he drives off. And you wouldn't fucking read about it, but like literally a minute later, someone just came running up to these two coppers, pointing at the spot where this car was, pointing it up the road where this car went, and yeah, the cops basically helped this cunt steal this bloke's car.
My God, that's like right out of that movie.
Yeah.
There was a movie where that happened.
That happens here. Like that literally.
I actually seen that
like,
for myself.
Minnesota.
Holy shit.
Yeah, like people here are so fucking trustworthy. It's stupid because like there's some really untrustworthy people, but people are very trusting. So like I've honestly had friends tell me they've been able to go what they call car shopping by convincing police officers to open vehicles for them.
Yeah, and well, the worst part is St Mary's back in those days was known as the Wild Wild West. Like there was like a pub there with three different bikie gangs used to drink in. No cunt went anywhere near it, even the cops. This joint was rough back then. Fucking.
Well, shall we move on? Because I got good news.
Yay!
All right.
Okay, sure. Yay.
Man arrested for Nigerian prince email scams is definitely not Nigerian royalty. This is like some 67-year-old white guy from Slidell, Louisiana. But after an 18-month investigation, they finally got one of the co-conspirators of that stupid Nigerian prince email.
Does this mean I get the 60 quid back?
I doubt that, but the fact of the matter is the guy faces 269 counts of wire fraud, money laundering, having participated in hundreds of scam transactions. They finally got the Nigerian prince.
Yay!
Am I going to get my money back?
I would not count on it. This guy, I mean, my God, he just looks like he's always pissed. I mean, you ever see those guys with the permanent frown?
Mm-hmm. It's called resting bitch face.
This guy has resting bitch face. He's got the jowls. He's got jowls. He's got jowls. If anybody wonders what a jowl is,
Yeah.
That's why you got the big puppy cheeks in those hand.
Right, it's like no, like Nixon, Richard Nixon, like his cheeks. He had jowls.
That, my friend, that is a jowl. Right there. If you are looking at the picture, this is what a jowl is. That is the classic jowl. This should be in the dictionary next to what is a jowl. Picture of this guy's just everything from the nose down. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take a picture of this.
Oh, yeah, that is...
We shall never surrender. Well, obviously, this guy isn't Churchill because he's obviously surrendered.
Oh, yeah, Churchill would never give up. Never give up. Never surrender. Never
surrender. We shall find out the bitches. And down the hills.
He's probably got a bit of French in him then.
There are 5 gears in French takes. 4 to go backwards and 1 to go forward just in case.
Yep.
Yeah, I've heard the French are going to change the flag to just white.
Well, considering that last I heard they were talking about a two-state solution within France to deal with their migrant problem, yeah, pretty much. The moment you consider, just giving over part of your country to immigrants who evaded, you guys, you have no spine.
Yeah, and finally, even
the only reason.
Yeah, go on.
The only reason why there's red and blue in the French flag is just so they can try and hide their cowardice.
Any thoughts?
There was real reason behind the colors of the flag.
Yeah, there is a free tricolour. It's something about sky and the earth. The sky blood. It's all about that revolution where Marie Antoinette said something about eating cake and shit.
Yeah.
It's all about that.
Okay.
I like cake.
Shall we move on?
Yes.
Yep.
Florida man. I love Florida man. We had to have a Florida man.
We need more Florida man. Sorry.
My hero.
Florida man says he punched ATM for giving too much cash. A Florida man told investigators he punched an automatic teller machine because it gave him too much cash. An arrest report says 23.
What's the complaint?
Yeah, an arrest report says a 23-year-old Michael Joseph Oslick man caused about $5,000 in damage to an ATM at a Wells Fargo bank because apparently it gave him too much money. The surveillance video captured him pummeling the touchscreen.
$5,000 in damage.
Bloody hell.
What?
That's one hell of a
Fucking
fucking
hell.
fist.
Here's his thing. He said he told the bank manager that he was angry that the machine was giving him too much money and he didn't know what to do because he was in a hurry for work. So he apologized for causing damage. Well, they should have listened to fucking Luke Cage then, shouldn't they? Don't fucking argue with Luke Cage. Fuck me, I was wondering where he went. He went to Florida. You are giving me too much money. Take it back. Florida man smash. Oh, hold on a sec. I'll be back.
That's Marvel's newest hero.
Dude, it'd be like the best, though. It could be like just a spoof comic. It'd be great.
Be better than what they have now.
Mr. Fetal Position.
No, what the fuck, dude?
I was just listening to one of Comics and Diversity's streams recently, and a lot of their SJW comics have been cancelled.
Yeah.
Aww.
I can't get told how shitty of a person I am anymore.
I was really getting into that Mr. Fetal Position thing, that superhero whose only power is within his own safe space.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, stop.
The purse puppy.
Stupid.
Purse puppy power.
Oh my god,
no.
no.
Anything good unless you've been mollycoddled.
Oh my god.
I'm going to defeat you with the power of tears.
See, I don't live in the land of comics. I don't know squatiola about shit other than like what I know of the basic characters, which is like the big ones. I mean, I can tell you all kinds of shit about them, but if you want to start talking like really technical shit in the universe of comics, I'm kind of over here like, okay.
Well, in the Marvel 616 universe, I didn't like when Spider shot his webs out the sides of his hands instead of out the touch.
You're not allowed to use your nerd voice. It's not allowed.
But there is pretty hair-raising shit that some of the good guys.
Sorry about that. I'm back.
That's okay.
Shall we move on, or did you want to keep babbling?
Yep, go on.
I'm easy.
I don't know if we can get him to keep on with the nerd voice. That'd be great.
All right, moving on to the next one.
Yeah, that nerd voice will really turn me on.
Erie, Pennsylvania.
Oh my god, what the fuck?
Oh, you like that, don't you? Oh, yeah.
I don't think you're being properly respectful. I do not think you're being respectful of people who are of a more intelligent position than you.
You're making me want to put on my Wookiee onesie and just like.
No. Y'all are doing it wrong. You gotta put your tongue like on the roof of your mouth, and you gotta talk like this, so that every time you start talking about nerd stuff, you sound like a total nerd. It's kind of like spit.
That's what I was trying
You
to
gotta
go
have a
with.
Jewish sort of like twang as well.
You know,
I was trying to go
So
with
you-
that.
Check it out, little twang.
yeah, I think her stereotyping people.
Playing up again.
You're totally.
triggering me.
Supports aren't working
I
properly.
don't appreciate your attitude.
What, can we bring the
I need
thing?
to get a new comforter.
We need to get the we need to start being more serious here. I'm gonna have to burn the place down if you keep talking over me. I'm gonna have to burn the place down. Don't steal my stapler. Are you stealing my stapler? Someone,
Dungeon Master, and I do not approve of this.
I feel like I need a safe space.
you stop stealing my stapler. That's my stapler. Stop it.
Squirrel Girl is my favorite.
I'm so serial, guys. I'm serial here. I need my stapler. I'm gonna burn the place down if you don't give me my stapler.
Retard.
Oh my goodness. No.
Don't go full retard. You never go full retard.
Never go full retard.
Too late.
You went full retard. Never go full retard.
He went full retard. Don't go full retard.
Wait, no,
He can't
no,
go
no.
full retard.
No,
He went full
that's
retard. He can't go full
totally,
retard.
totally
He got
not
full
okay.
retard.
I mean,
It's
if
about
we're gonna be
$50.
like full retard, I mean, I can do a really terrible, awful impression of a duck person.
Oh, no.
Oh my god, that feels so good. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Play with my balls. Play with my balls.
Oh my god.
That one is
I'm going to give a towel.
Oh my god, you have to stop. You need to stop.
That's about $50.
I'll go get you a towel.
A candy bar's about
Holy
$50. It's
shit,
about
you're
$50.
Excuse you.
Oh well. Are we ready to move on a bit?
Yes, please.
Woman stunned to find electric bill listed at $284 billion. That's right. She went online to check her electric bill and was stunned at the amount, more than $284 billion. She suspected that her family had put up their Christmas lights wrong.
What?
However, the
think the electric
silver
company
lining
is
is
terrible.
that she didn't have to pay the full amount, and only a $28,156 minimum payment was due for December.
I would be more worried
Oh
if I
my
was
god,
electric
no.
company.
They
I
said
hope
that
you
a
have the
decimal
electric
point was accidentally moved. Her new amount was quickly corrected to $284.46.
Okay.
Wow.
That amount of electricity, I think you would have blown 20,000 fuses.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, yeah, what were the Christmas lights? Bloody Las Vegas?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Ah, well.
I'm just
Just
thinking
a
of,
little funny thing that I thought needed to be money. Should we get a little more serious or keep with the funny?
A heart attack for Christmas.
Funny.
What's it
let's
called?
be jovial.
The movie, the best Christmas movie ever. I'm just thinking of that.
Die Hard?
Oh,
Christmas
Die
Story?
Hard.
Die Hard.
Die Hard.
Yes.
Die Hard is a great Christmas movie.
No, Griswold.
Now I have a machine gun. Ho ho ho. Although I have seen a Christmas Vacation, that is a good one. Yes.
Christmas
Yippee-ki-yay,
No, Home Alone.
motherfucker.
Home Alone's up
Home
there
Alone is a
too.
great Christmas movie. Ooh,
Gremlins.
That's
no,
that's actually
yes, I was
a
gonna say
horror
Gremlins.
Yeah,
Oh,
Gremlins.
Gremlins. Gremlins.
Gremlins is
Is
a great Christmas movie. I watched that the other day on Christmas with my best friend.
But every year I have to watch, Christmas Vacation. Every year.
Unfortunately,
National Lampoon.
at one of my jobs where I deal with quadriplegics, it's practically on 24/7. For like the past month, I have seen a Christmas
You
Vacation probably about 30 times.
I could not
Oh,
handle that.
Lucky bastard.
Songs. The songs do my head in at this time of the year. Everywhere you
Christmas
go, it's all these
songs?
cheery, crappy Christmas fucking songs. Yeah.
You might hear some
Okay,
reindeer
no,
on
I
your
love Christmas
rooftop,
carols.
or grass stops on your windowsill. But if someone's coming down your chimney, you better load your gun and shoot to kill. 'Cause it's Christmas at ground zero, just seconds left to go. All dark and covered with my Yuletide lover underneath the mistletoe.
You need to stop.
If only it was that, though.
Please
We're
stop.
now fucking
Okay.
In the face. Just taking your
No,
life.
no. Like, I'd actually hand
You've never heard Christmas at Ground Zero? That's one of
That's
the best
amazing.
songs
Love
ever.
that.
I have never heard this.
I wanna- I
No,
want
no,
them to
no.
make-
Wait, when like Mr. Gurr will fucking back me up on this, but like this is more in the Commonwealth, not in like America or anything like that. But they have all these old timey fucking Catholic hymns and Christian hymns and shit like that that they've actually turned into songs and stuff. Like the Little Drummer Boy, I done a fart on him. Bum.
Nice.
That's the kind of fucking Christmas carols we get out here.
Yeah. Well, yellow snow, yellow snow, yellow snow.
We get those two, but we get them mixed in with the poppy shit.
Ah, well. So we move on to something. Well, I'm not sure what it is.
Here's a little Christmassy carol from a really old movie I recommend. It's called 84 Charlie Mopic. You got to watch it. It's a fucking great movie. It's jingle bells, mortar shells, VC in the grass. You can take your Merry Christmas, stick it up your ass.
Nice. Has anyone heard the 12 Days of Pesci on Fright Supremacist channel?
No, I have not heard that one.
Oh, it's fucking awesome. The one thing it's really got me was like on the 5th day of Pesci, Joe Pesci gave to me 5 bada bings.
Oh, did you ever hear Vincent LaGuardia Glupe sings Just For You? I forget what it is, but it's done by Joe Pesci, and he does all these songs. Like, there's a version of, what was it? It's a Wonderful World. It's just, I mean, the sky's blue, clouds. I mean, it's done by like this mobster. It's just hysterical. Yeah. Vincent LaGuardia Lupe sings Just For You. I forget what it is.
Body in a deep freeze.
Oh, yeah, it's awesome. At any rate, any other comments before we move on?
Yeah, just on the comics doing music and shit like that. We used to have a TV show. It was an old police show called Bluey, and it was about this big fat copper called Lucky Grills. And back in the late 90s, there was a comedy show called the Next Generation Late Show. And they redid a whole bunch of those Bluey episodes, and they redubbed all the voices and shit. And I've got to get you a link to this. This is fucking funny as all hell, man. But like, there's one bit in it where they do this part where Bargeass was supposed to be getting into the music scene, and they just played this really crappy sort of advert for his new album. It's like, like they're playing snippets of it, and fucking it's like this big fat cunt going, "Save your love, oh darling, save your love," and other classics like "Wind Over the Water," "Like a bridge over troubled waters." There's shut in. Da, 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 da. Yeah, it just brought back memories of that. It was funny. I've got to get you a link to that. You'll fucking die laughing. Kid you not.
Wait a minute. Were those the guys who did Angel Summoner and BMX Guy?
No.
You guys are. By the way, if you get a chance, you guys got to see that. Basically, here's the thing. There's these two superheroes. One of them is Angel Summoner, and the other one is BMX Guy. He's a guy who rides a BMX bike very well. And whenever they encounter a problem, Angel Summoner goes, all right. He just summons a horde of angels and fixes the problem. BMX Guy kind of stands there and looks around like, oh, yeah.
I can't really do much with the BMX.
And then, it's funny. It's funny as hell. But anyway, moving on.
BMX Bandits.
That was it. BMX Bandit. It was Angel Summoner and BMX Bandit. Anyway, man.
We actually had a show, a movie.
Yeah.
Nicole Kidman was in it.
I fucking love
Nicole Kidman was in it when she was like a 12-year-old ranger.
Really? There was a movie like that? Weird.
Yeah, BMX Bandits. They filmed it in Sydney, and at the time, my dad was a wharfinger on Manly Wharf, and so like I knew like everywhere they were filming. I was like, I've been there. And that was really great back in the 80s.
Yeah, I fucking love.
I've been to a movie thing.
I've not seen it. I've probably not seen it since the 80s as well.
Oh, the best part was like when I was a kid, this used to be as funny as fuck because like we didn't have much swearing at the time. And basically, it's about like these kids. They find this group of organised crime guys. They've buried some shit in the harbour. The kids find it, and then when the crims come along, find out that they've been ripped off themselves. They pull this rope up, and it's just like, oh poo. And that bit there, you're just like, oh poo. That was really funny.
I'm just gonna,
The most memorable part
saying
about
things.
it for me is when they're going down those swimming things, the tubes.
Yeah, the bloody
Down in the
slides.
bikes.
Oh,
Yeah,
fuck me, it's cold.
Oh, well.
yeah, the slides.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the water slides.
They're
Yeah.
still there. They're still there, you know.
Well, they've just gone through the site.
Do you need to get going? Is it
They've
too cold for you?
lasted well.
No, I just got outside.
Okay, just checking. Anyway, moving on. This is a good. I'm not sure what this is, so I'm just going to start. Man claims father-in-law used toupee to scare him. In New York City, a man who says he has a fear of the Tasmanian Devil claimed his father-in-law repeatedly scared him with a toupee that looks like the cartoon character. Now, the man who is doing this is the name of Yunes Dolev, who was arrested in November for violating a restraining order filed by his son-in-law, Mazen Dayam. The 36-year-old says Dole terrorized him at a funeral by waving the hairpiece and snarling. The Staten Island man says he has a fear of the Tasmanian Devil his entire life. Damon claims that his father-in-law has been taking advantage of this phobia since 2013, and Dayam filed a restraining order in September. So Dola, the father, faces charges of criminal contempt and aggravated harassment for waggling a toupee. I don't even know what this is.
This is the funniest part about it. The Tasmanian Devil is the least harmful thing in this fucking country.
I'm not surprised.
That won't fucking kill you here.
Oh, I heard they kind of look weird, but they're kind of harmless, really.
Hey, they're like gerbils. They're as harmless as gerbils.
That actually is perfect.
I might have just seen this or saw it in the documentary.
I think he was afraid of the cartoon character, not the actual character.
That's even fucking worse.
Right, Farty, do they make a sort of weird, scary noise at any time?
Yeah, they kind of make this sort of like a hissy, hissy bark, kind of like kind of like a thing. But yeah, it's all noise, no balls.
Yeah. That's not fun.
Oh, Happy New Year for people on the East Coast. Missed it by 7 minutes.
Yay.
Are they in danger?
I have 53 minutes
Got
left.
nothing as pets.
I have like 2 hours. 3 hours. It's 9 over here.
Oh, I just love this picture. It's a picture of the Tasmanian Devil standing there looking sad in rain with the words, "I am not a monster."
Oh, bless him.
Aww.
But it's all like, because that's how he is in the cartoon.
Farty.
You know, he's just got a speech impediment. People are getting on this. He's don't oppress the disabled.
Yeah, Farty.
Yes.
Can you have a Tasmanian Devil as a pet, or do they just not make them? Or do they just
Actually, to tell you the truth, I've never actually looked into the legalities of it. I'd say since you are allowed to have ferrets, yes, you most likely are. But having said that, we do have some funny laws about like native animals, like you're not allowed to have a dingo as a pet. So I actually haven't looked into the legalities of that. As far as I'm aware, I suppose you probably could. But yeah, don't take my word for it.
Shall we move on to bittersweet?
Yep, let's move on now.
Woman takes her wedding vows just hours before cancer takes her life. December 20th.
Aww.
Yeah. Heather Lindsay was diagnosed with breast cancer.
You do this? Don't do this to me.
Oh, well.
Did he get to consummate the marriage?
I don't know. According to the little picture here, she was in a hospital bed. But she did get to get married to the man she loved before she, passed on. So at least that was good. She got to fulfill that. She married David.
Like sweet and sad, yeah.
Yeah, no, that was going to be too wrong, that one. No, I'm not going to tell that joke.
Well, see, for me, this means something because it's kind of what happened to my younger sister. She got diagnosed with cancer. She got married, and she lasted about 6 weeks after that. So, this brings up a few memories. Sad, but she got to do it. It's what matters.
Hey.
I just wanted to bring it up briefly, calm things down a little.
At least the final moments were joyful.
Mm-hmm.
At least it didn't end in a divorce.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
No, that's true.
At least they didn't end each other hating each other, fighting and arguing and carrying on.
Yeah.
They got to go happy. Well, she did anyway.
Yeah.
No, he's
I
gonna
reckon that's
be
quite nice.
on the dark side, though. It's every
Yeah.
partner he's gonna have from now on is going to be measured against her.
Well,
And
yeah,
then
that's
he's gonna
the
be
one of the
able to
things too. I know
compete.
that my brother-in-law never remarried, and I told him, hey, you don't need to like pine over her forever because it's been many years. But that's the problem when you've got a theoretical, impossible, imaginary ideal. It's hard to undo it.
Yeah, exactly.
So. But they were together a long time before that happened. That was kind of like, oh, I've got something. Let's, I'm tackling this. Let's not wait anymore. So.
Yeah.
Oh, well, even if they spent more time with each other beforehand, they lasted this long and they were still happy when they got married. Even better.
Yeah.
Any rate, moving on to, I'm trying to keep up. A lot of the big news events seem to be just dropping off the radar. I've got to start hunting them down. Like, I didn't even know about this. A man fired more than 100 rounds at sheriff's deputies in Denver, killing one and injuring 4 others before fatally shooting himself in what they called an ambush for the cops. I mean, now this guy, it's not like a Muslim or anything. It's like Matthew Rye. I can't pronounce his last name, but this is something actually that has been coming up that I tried to keep track of. There have been more and more ambushes of cops.
Yep.
Like, and I blame all this whole, well, fortunately, as far as I'm concerned, Black Lives Matter seems to have finally died out in 2017. But they've left a legacy of hatred for the police. Yeah. And if you keep track of this kind of thing, which is something I've been doing on and off for the year, which is cops being called to places where they wind up in ambushes is happening more and more across the United States. Like, it seems to be for no other reason than to kill the cops. Like, not even like, I want to kill a particular cop. I want to kill cops. And as somebody like yesterday was talking to me, yesterday we talked about that guy who on a $2 bet swatted some random person and that person got killed. And they go, what cop should lose his job? Somebody was telling me, and I'm like, dude, you do not know what it's like to be a cop.
Yeah.
Okay, you do not know. Every time you go out on a call, you have to assume that you are being set up to be murdered just because you're a cop. And this is my example that to the guy, I'm not going to name him because I don't want to make this personal here, but this is my example that cops are being targeted for being cops.
Yeah.
And I hope this stops in 2018 because there are bad cops, but most cops, I would say 99% of the cops, are not trying to kill you regardless of your race, color, or creed. So, any thoughts?
I think that's a bit more regardless of like whoever's background is with these ambushes. It's straight out against the cops in particular. It's got nothing to do with any grievances against themselves. But I can see that's starting to it will become a thing out here too because if you have a look at like some of the police forces out there, they do get the wrong type of person in, and like me getting older, it's really fucking irritating for me to have some 23-year-old dick flop with a Glock on his bloody hip coming up trying to tell me how much of a hard ass he was because he's got a blue uniform on, and like I'm actually starting to get no respect for the police around here now, especially after like some of the fucking dealings I've had with them lately, and every time I speak to a cop nowadays, most of them have a whinge about something I've said or something like that. Yeah, I've said something that had nothing to do with them pulling out their gun and shooting somebody, but they'll sit there and they'll say, I don't have to carry this gun, but I have to because of my job. And don't fucking sook to me about it. You weren't conscripted. You chose what you wanted to do. You chose to do that. You deserve every fucking thing you get. And everyone who thinks that I'm an asshole for saying that, well, go tell that to the cops who said it to fucking me. And I've served this fucking country. I've served this fucking state. I've done 10 times more than what these cunts do. And the last thing I need is some 23-year-old fuckstick coming up telling me how much of a fucking hard cunt he is when he hasn't even left the fucking country yet. That's the attitude I'm at, and I'm on the good guy's side. How do you think everybody else is thinking?
No, I understand. I mean, I'm not saying all cops are saints.
But yeah, that's just an observation, though. Like the ones that aren't don't make it any easier for the ones that are.
Any other comments or thoughts from people?
Well, you do have, and this is the thing too, is there's a lot of people that don't like law enforcement. One for the reason that Fardy explained, which I'm kind of more in that camp. I'm tired of seeing people my age, people who I went to high school with, coming out to be cops, changing their fucking attitude and being dicks about it. When it's like, hey, dude, I've got friends that they went overseas and came back missing a limb or something. They've done more than this. So I agree with Fardy on that point, but at the same time, there are people too who are kind of in that sovereign citizen angle. A lot of the
those people can fuck off.
The militias don't like cops either. Like what happened with Lavoy, the whole thing in Oregon, the shit in Nevada with what's his name, the fucking rancher. They don't like cops
that was
either.
bad.
So you have that angle. So I do agree cops have a bit of a shit job. I also agree that they were aware of what they signed up for. Just in the military, you're aware you sign up that you might die, and you also understand the honor that goes with it. But at the same time, I do agree the Black Lives Matter angles kind of added more negativity that didn't need to be there, and then it gave kind of a fake mask of racism. So added more hate that wasn't really earned. But I don't know. I think that we got to be a little bit more careful on that, just because, you know, the cops do have a tough job, but at the same time, they need to realize, like,
not everyone's a fucking crook. Not everyone's a crook.
And it depends on per cop. There are cops that are like, yeah, I serve and I'm happy to do it. I'm a public servant. And those are the cops that deserve, that we want to have around to teach these young guys how to actually be a cop. But then you got to be careful, because you got the people my age who are just complete dicks and just have a badge and think they own the world now. And it just, it's tough.
Well, it used to be a bit the other way around. The older ones were the good ones, because the older ones actually had some experience and some nous about them. But nowadays, all the younger bastards, they're all drones. They're told you must do this, like this, or else, and they can't think around situations or think outside the box.
I think a lot of times, due to all the rules, that they're not allowed to think beyond the box, though. They have to act this certain way.
In some cases, yeah.
Well, let me clarify something, because I deal with the CPEP squad, which has cops on it. They're the people who come by whenever there's a problem and they need to medicate somebody. I was talking with one of them once, and I said, how are you liking the whole body cam thing? And he says, oh, I love it. I love the new body cam, but people are going to hate it. And I said, oh, because it's recording their crimes? He said, no, because I'm going to have to draw my gun more. And I said, what the hell are you talking about? And he says, you know how there's regulations about when I can't draw my gun? There are also regulations that tell me at times I have to draw my gun. And there's plenty of times I don't. I do not draw it, because I know it'll just escalate things. And when you pull that gun, the chance of somebody getting shot goes way up. And now with a camera on me, if I don't draw the gun, I will get written up. So I am going to be drawing my gun a lot more.
That's a really good point, and I have honestly never thought of that. That's a really good point.
And I did look into it. The statistics are that when you give cops body cams, they shoot more people.
Yeah.
Yep. And
it's ass backwards, but it is.
Take into consideration their firearms training as well. That's almost non-existent.
Well, maybe that needs to be fixed.
Yeah, yes, I do hear the number of bullets fired and the number of targets hit when it comes to cops is actually a really lousy ratio. Apparently, actually being good at shooting people is not a requirement for being a cop.
You would think it would be.
However, I was at my local shopping mall centre a couple of months ago, and you know how British cops are generally just not armed at all. I saw two police officers, full tactical gear with M16s or something equivalent to that. And I thought, yes, that's how cops should be.
Yep. Yeah, when I was in London, I saw a bunch of the armed response guys around Buck Palace and all that kind of stuff. And, PDWs and all that. And then you go over to places like Sierra Leone, their sidearm is a rifle.
The sidearm is a rifle.
Yeah.
That makes no sense. A sidearm should be an easily pullable
it should
weapon,
be
like a
just
small
handgun,
handgun.
Yeah.
Well, you're always carrying the rifle at the port arm, or the low port, so you're already in a position to just swing the rifle in a direction. But like they actually have big bore 7.62 millimeter semi-automatic rifles.
Jesus.
Police gun. Yeah,
Nice.
and they'll even let you fiddle with them too.
That sounded so
You know-
dirty.
That really did sound very bad. I'm so sorry.
Campbell, that's
actually,
I got
wow.
half a chubby
Yeah.
on just thinking about that.
Where
That-
Campbell
that
hangs
actually
out, by the
coming
way.
from
I think we need an NSFW tag.
By the way, where Campbell hangs out, the cops only get tasers.
Oh, damn.
Like, that just shows you the range of what happens here in America. We go from tasers to, like, where they walk around with shotguns and bulletproof vests all the time. And that would be my
Cops
neighborhood.
here walk around with bulletproof vests.
Yeah, the couple that I saw did look like they had semi-automatics on them and like full tactical gear, and they were just patrolling the area. No threats or anything like that. Just an average.
It was just Tuesday.
Yeah, it was literally just a
Tuesday. I think it's whatever, guys. It's whatever.
And in the meantime, there's two dudes with SA-80 standing out in front of a giant castle, and no one cares. Oh, everyone wants to take the piss out of them.
Yeah, and just says, "Step back behind the." What is it?
Stand back from the Queen's Guard.
God.
That's make ways when they're marching and you're in their direction. You're in their direction of travel. So it's make ways to get out of the way, and it's stand clear of the Queen's Guard, or be clear of the Queen's Guard. Something like that is when they're coming and trying to fiddle with the hat.
Any rate, moving on here. I don't know, guys, if you're keeping up with Iran, but they're like entering day 4 of their protests. Internet access in many cities have been cut off completely. I believe the death toll is like, last I heard was at 4, but it's probably a lot higher and just unreported. Damn. And unlike the peaceful protests of 2 years ago, this seems to be like going the full out like rioting. Like we got burning trash cans.
So does anyone think
that
Iran is going to turn into like pre-1960 whatever?
Well,
I'm
pretty sure.
To be honest, I'm not entirely sure. I've tried to read up on it, and the why this is happening seems to be unfair elections. But,
Yes, it is. This has happened before. This happened about 7 years ago, or bit longer than 7 years ago, with the Arab Spring. And basically it came down to, there was two politicians. There was an old school hardliner, which liked the Sharia law and all that, and then there was a new reformist. And of course, because Muslims breed like crazy, and a lot of Iranians have gone over to England and America and Australia and places like that to be educated, and they've come back to this country, to Iran, and go, well, hang on a minute, why can't we have our Coca-Cola and our MTV? It's not as bad as what they say. So now you've got twice as many young people who are actually at the age of voting, who are out voting all the old school hardliners, and that's what happened the last time. Was they tried to put down the reformists, by shooting them and stuff, and then it basically came down to, well, fucking the Iran's fucked either way, with the Ayatollah there, and he still had to save face. So basically, what the Ayatollah did was that he chose the reformist, not the old school hardliner, because it was his decision, not the vote. And you'll find that's probably what they're trying to do now, is they're trying to bring back the Sharia hardliners, and all the young people are still going, nope, fuck off, didn't trust you last time, I'm not trusting you this time either.
Don't blame them.
I wonder if we send over some social justice warriors. Like that would like if they came here and got educated, we should. I mean, if we could, just send them all over.
Can you imagine that? We'd send them over. They'll be all 300 fucking pounds each. They'd be out in the bloody Middle Eastern sun. They'd sweat themselves thin. They'd come back anorexic. Imagine that.
Well, no, I'm thinking they could be more like
boffing through the. Oh, Jesus, it's hot here. Oh, I've only taken a step from the aeroplane. Oh, where's this patriarchy car? Oh, it's 5 steps away. Oh, fuck, I've got to walk 5 more steps. Bloody patriarchy making me fucking walk. Oh, why can't they turn the temperature down?
I can honestly say I don't know a single social justice warrior that's fat.
Oh,
at least the
just go on
locals
YouTube.
At least the locals.
I've met a few.
Actually, I was thinking more along the lines of because of their size, they could act as like human shields for the real revolutionaries.
At least the locals there won't be complaining that they're being outbreeded by them.
No. This is the reason why you won't get any SJWs in Iran. They don't like pigs there.
Oh my god.
Okay, all right.
Oh my god.
Anyway.
Oh, no one saw that coming.
No, didn't see that.
Oh.
That was good.
At any rate, anything else on Iran? Because to be honest, I'm kind of lost as to why. Like, it just seems, in my opinion, to just started. I'm sure there's reasons, but it's kind of hard to get any information.
Iran is going to change, and it's going to change for the better because the young reformists, the ones who want the Western idealists and the Western culture and all that, who definitely don't want war with America because they like their country in one piece, they will eventually take over Iran by hook or by crook, and they'll most likely either go bloc, which is China and Russia. They'll ally with them, or they'll ally with NATO and the United Nations. But either way, it's not. I really don't see this like Iran being like Afghanistan and Iraq or anything like that. This might actually end up being good for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but all the SJWs will be saying, "Oh, why are you doing that?"
Yeah.
But all the SJWs
feminine supremacy or some.
Yeah, they're doing this to get rid of the bloody hijab, and the fucking feminists will be ringing them up saying, "No, put your hijab back on. It's women's stuffs."
No. The hijab is very feminist. It's very pro woman rights because it's very empowering. I've heard several Muslim women tell me that.
Oh yeah, I know where it's empowering. It covers the face of all the bush pigs, so that we don't shudder in horror every time we see them.
Oh my god! Fuck!
Yeah, only the decent-looking women don't want to wear.
I don't know if you guys saw it, but there was this series of cartoons for little children who were Muslims, and it was like there was this one about me and my hijab, and she's like, the hijab, it makes me like a pearl inside of it. Oh my god, I was watching this and literally just jaw hanging open like, my god, this is horrifying.
Even pretty much said it was protection from like bad things happening to you.
It all but said it'll stop men from raping me. Yeah. I mean, that's literally almost. It was like, my hijab, I'm like a pearl in a shell. Yeah, hidden from the rest of the world where nobody can bother you. And I got another phone call. I'll be back in a few.
Said it was protection in a way, in really vague terms, that it's protection.
See, like
I kind of get like the rationale of Sharia law, right? Now, like if you're a woman and you walk down a dark alley, hang on, wait, Gwendy.
And I'm back.
I get this, right? Yeah, if you're Sheila and you walk down a dark alley alone at night and there's 5 guys there, you fucking deserve what's coming to you.
Excuse you.
No, seriously. If you're dumb enough to do that, then yeah, you don't have a leg to stand.
No, wait. I would clarify that with you have a choice of going down the alleyway or going somewhere else. Okay, if you see 5,
the first thing I said is if you choose to go down a dark alley at night with 5 nasty looking blokes there, if you chose to do that, right now the whole point with Sharia is that it's trying to make sure of the choice, and a lot of the punishments in the Sharia part of the law actually is more for the protection of the woman. You don't want to get raped, don't walk down a dark alley at night because Muslim men are fucking assholes and they will rape you.
Oh no, I'm with you on that, but if you see somebody dangerous, you don't walk up to them. Yeah. And trust me, I'm not walking down that dark alleyway.
In a country where
I would, but that's because I can easily take care of myself.
So, well, hang on, Wendy. What's more amicable for everybody? The defenseless little girl doesn't walk down a dark alley, or the big nasty blokes who couldn't give a shit about the laws don't break the law?
But in a country where what's it called, Teres Gamia, which literally is translated to the rape game.
Yeah, like I'm not standing up for it. I'm just trying to fucking explain it to you.
Yeah.
Right now, if you're walking down the street in broad daylight and 2 blokes drag you down a laneway and someone saw it, then yes, those other 2 blokes are fucked. All right. But what if it's one of these college girls that goes and sleeps with the football team and then claims that they gang raped her?
I
That's
mean,
what
if
it-
she
that's
did
what
it, if
Sharia
she did
is-
it willingly,
that's what
that's one
Sharia
thing. If
protects.
she
You're
was, like,
conflating
forced
this.
to do
You're
it, then
conflating
no.
this. Okay, but I
No,
see his point.
It's basically that. It's basically right. If you do go into all of these things and with no protection, no one looking out for you, and all this, no one to back up your story, you don't have a leg to stand on. So don't do those things. That's what they're
But then
saying.
all that's
They're
doing
saying
is
it's
perpetuating rape culture, and that's wrong.
Whoa. Okay, no,
that's
look, there's a
because they're all
difference.
backwards fucking. They're all backwards baboons. That's why. But
Oh
fucking
my
that's
God.
the way. That's their
Hold
rationale for it.
on a
I
second
can't
here.
handle you.
One, rape should not be condoned or allowed, or it should be confronted and,
shouldn't be
dealt with.
used.
However, we also have to accept the fact there are people who will ignore the law. And so if you see a dangerous
Exactly.
situation,
I suppose.
avoid it. This is common sense.
Exactly.
The problem
It's
is when you
exactly.
have somebody who says, well, that's a dangerous situation, but I should be allowed to walk down there. It's like, yeah, you should. But right now, you're going to get hurt. And trust me,
Yeah.
you're talking to somebody who has to walk through some dangerous parts of town.
It's like jumping into a tiger pit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you see a
exactly.
tiger pit, you don't jump in. You go, I should be allowed to jump into it. Yes, you should. But that's still a
I
tiger
mean, no,
pit.
you shouldn't, because they're tigers, and tigers are wild animals that have like no real.
So are humans.
Yeah, but
moral.
trust me, when you see
Yeah.
a lawbreaker,
Moral.
he's still immoral.
Now,
Yeah, man,
conversely,
And
though,
that's fucked up, though.
but
Yes, it is,
conversely,
but it's
though,
reality.
If two Sheilas are walking down the street and five blokes come up to them and tried to fiddle with them and the two Sheilas went to the police, the other five blokes would be fucking shut on from a great height. No kidding. Like, everybody likes to say what happens to the women in this situation, but when a bloke in Islam actually bona fide, he gets fucking, right, yes, you're guilty of that, fucking we're charging you with that and you're getting punished for it, oh boy, yeah, they get punished.
Right. Can I just
It's
put
almost-
my
Yeah, go
spin
ahead.
on it?
Mm,
Right. I
yeah.
am a Sheffield Wednesday fan, like football, soccer, if you want to call it.
Okay, I
Uh,
was really confused for a
my
second.
team is blue and white stripes. There is another team called Sheffield United, and they have red and white stripes. If I go to a pub where it's completely Sheffield United fans, and I wear my Sheffield Wednesday top with blue and white stripes, and I go into that pub, I will get the shit beaten out of me.
Yep, I can't walk into a Campbell pub in Scotland either.
And yes, it will be completely illegal for them to beat the shit out of me, but everyone else will say, you dumb fucking cunt.
Mm-hmm.
So that's stupid.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's stupid, but we're talking about there's reality and the way the world should be. It should be
There's
fought.
law.
It should be stopped. But you still need to expect that in this situation, yeah, walking into that bar wearing the colors, you're poking people and hoping that they'll be under control. It's kind of like being a troll. I'm not saying that,
Yeah.
but if
Oh, I
you
mean, have you met me?
yeah, no. Like I understand. If you're a troll and you're trolling somebody, you should expect them to come at you. Now, I'm not saying a woman walking down an alleyway is trolling to get raped, because here's the weird thing: by the statistics, a woman, don't dress like a slut. They say actually, if you dress like a slut, you're less likely to get raped. Women who dress provocatively are considered to have higher self-esteem, and stranger rapists will avoid you because they know you're more likely to fight back and be dangerous. They prefer to go after dour women who look like they're timid and scared and shy by wearing very modest clothes, because they know they're less likely to fight back. Now I'm talking about stranger rape, not people who know you.
It's a good thing I fucking like sundresses.
So
just like a hooker might have a pimp nearby.
yeah, I mean. But see, the weird thing is that's actually part of the point. Is you're dressing like a prostitute, but you've got somebody there to back you up. You're not taking. You're in a dangerous situation, but you're taking precautions. If you see a dangerous situation, run from it. Don't say, well, the law requires. You know what? The law isn't there right now. If there was a cop standing there, sure, then go right ahead, because you've got the cop there. But if there's no cop around, it's a dark alleyway, and for some reason you're in the middle of nowhere and no one can hear you scream, don't go into some dangerous situation. That part of your brain that's telling you, I don't feel comfortable, listen to it. Run. I do. I do it all the freaking time. People think that, oh, it's so great being a man. Oh, hell no. I talk to these people that I work with, and I fully expect the new guy we got coming on, I'm going to lock my door a lot more here at the office. Like, no, I mean, he's...
Yeah,
I don't want to get into it.
Here's another example for you, Gwen. Like, my family originates from the MacDonald clan in Scotland, right? And back in years and years and years, and like 500 fucking years ago, the McDonald's and the Campbells had a big fight. Now, that bad blood has been continuing on ever since then. And if I was to go to Scotland and walk into a Campbell pub and announce my last name, then I'd have the shit kicked out of me. And it'd be the same thing if a Campbell.
Name?
Yep. And it'd be the same if a Campbell walked into a McDonald pub and said, "I'm a Campbell," we'd kick the fuck out of him. Now, we've known this for 500 years, and the simplest way for me to not get the shit kicked out of me in a Campbell pub is to not go into a Campbell pub.
But what if it's a really good pub and you know they have good food?
It's not that good. It's from the Campbells.
Now we come. Well, like I said, sometimes if you see a dangerous situation, you're saying, "Hey, I need to do this dangerous thing." Then go get help. Go get the cops. Don't just go in and hope that the other people are reasonable, because often people aren't. Now that said, I will say this: in Buffalo, the Kingsmen were probably the most law-abiding bike gang you ever met, even though they were a bunch of drug dealers. The neighborhoods they were in were the cops. Like, you didn't go to the cops, you went to the Kingsmen, and then they took care of the problem. Okay. Their neighborhoods were the safest neighborhoods. Of course, there was protection money involved, but that was the way it was. Buffalo back in the day was balkanized because the cops had their sections and the gangs had their sections, and it all worked because everybody worked together. Everybody knew the rules and nobody pushed anything. And then at some point, they got rid of the old guard cops, brought in the new ones who weren't respecting the old rules, and suddenly all the old alliances fell apart, all the old networks fell apart, and the entire town went completely to shit because nobody was protecting anybody anymore. And then you're saying it shouldn't be that way, but it worked. See, there's reality and how things actually function, and then there's the theoretical ideal. Don't live in a theoretical ideal. We want it. We want to achieve it, but don't depend on it. That's just common sense there. It should. However, on the other hand, don't blame the Sheila just because she did something stupid, okay? If you do something stupid that the law says you should be able to do, you go, okay, well, don't put yourself in harm's way. But on the other hand, that was totally illegal, and we should totally get those guys too. And this is... It's hard, unfortunately, to teach somebody to be safe and accept that it's a dangerous world, and at the same time go, but this is how the world should be. Anyway, go ahead.
This is a common misconception, too, with a lot of people, is they believe that the law is supposed to prevent an action from happening. It's not. Law is about reaction to an action. It's after it happens, after a crime is committed. So there's some people are like, well, I should be able to do this whenever I want to, and it's like, it's illegal. This is illegal. However, it's illegal when it's happened. You can't stop it from happening because it's illegal. It's only illegal once it's happened. And
this is true.
To stop people from doing bad things.
Yeah, it's the idea of if I get caught.
Yeah, that's unfortunately there are people who weigh that, and say, what's the likelihood of me being punished? When you're dealing with
then, when it comes to laws and stuff, you are 100% right. It is completely reactionary. Laws are 100% completely reactionary because they are created because of something that has happened, and the only way for them to be broken is to do the thing. But at the same time, though, when it comes to that kind of stuff, it's just I don't.
No, I agree with you. It's morally reprehensible.
I agree with you with the incoherent, cry of rage. I agree with that point. It's frustrating.
I cleaned everything up with that.
I don't have a better response other than
Yeah, see, this is the problem with ideals and reality meeting. You want the ideals, but there's also a point where you got to go, what? Am I tempting fate here?
I want ideals, but I'm just going to end up with 2 sluts in a puff.
And this
that's 2017, 2 sluts in a puff.
I don't know a single straight male that would oppose to the whole free the nipple thing.
Three the nipple? What?
You never heard about the free the nipple movement?
Free the nipple.
Oh my God. Okay.
Free the nipple.
Hold on. Let Wendy go. Let Wendy go.
Thank you. In all fairness, though, the whole free the nipple thing, I wholeheartedly agree with it. I honestly do. Because I'm sorry, breasts aren't a sexual thing. You can, they're great in sex. Don't get me wrong. I would know firsthand. Thank you. But they are designed to be nothing more than giant milk cans. That's literally what they are, and we're feeding babies. They're not anything more than that. Like,
Yeah, I
that's
got
the
a great
thing.
big pair of tits too, and no one wants to see
Oh, I'm
them.
sure you do. Well, I mean, no one gives two fucks if we see them. That's the thing. Whereas if I were to take off my top and walk around fucking without anything on top of me, then I would get in all kinds of trouble, and it doesn't make any sense
No,
because they're not
no,
sexual
no.
organs.
No, Gwen,
Oh, like
everyone
us.
would be happy to look at you with your top off. Everyone
Well-
would be telling me to put the top back on.
I don't think so because I have stretch marks. Trust me, no one wants to see that shit. It wiggles a little too much up in there.
Anyway.
I've got a
Anyway.
third tit in the middle of me guts.
Well, I'm not sure we got from Iran to stretch marks on breasts, but shall we move on?
No, I wasn't talking about stretch marks on my breast. No, those are perfect. Don't get me wrong. It's my belly that's all messed up, man. No.
Yeah, that's my
Well,
third
that's
boob.
not supposed to be a sexual thing either, but I seem to look at a lot of them.
Well,
Well, it's not a
oddly
sexual
enough,
thing?
the weird thing about it is that it's because they're covered. If breasts were hanging out all the time, they wouldn't be sexually targeted. It's stuff that you can't. It's the forbidden aspect. You know what the weird thing is that when you take a picture of a woman who's completely nude, it is nowhere near as sexy they've done studies as the woman who's got like on a bracelet or an ankle bracelet or, just any jewelry. If she's completely naked, she's not as sexy as if she has a little bit of clothing on or even just any amount of jewelry. Having the clothes on makes it
good just being naked as fuck. But
Oh,
that's
well, I'm talking about, statistically rating it. I'm talking about where they said, how sexy is this picture on a scale of 1 to 10? And they did like 500 people at random. And statistically, the woman with slightly more clothes on, even a bracelet, is rated more sexy than the one who's completely naked.
We're supposed to depends on the pose as well.
true.
This does come from a thing that they've noticed like way back in the 80s, and it's all to do with porn, and it's the whole element of surprise kind of thing. What's she hiding? It's like the whole like a short skirt is more sexy than a knee-length skirt because you're only just almost what's just underneath there? It's like
so close. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it's the titillation of it, even though, ankle bracelet's not
Titillation.
covering.
And that's why in
Yeah, but
Iran,
even
they
though,
really like ankles.
Yeah. Oh, hey, did you know what the most common thing yelled out in an Arab strip club is?
What?
Show us your chin.
Yeah, your chin's out. Yeah,
Oh.
your
Oh my
chin's
God.
out. Yeah, your chin's out for the lads.
Oh,
my God.
Toss your chin.
Yeah,
I
your
know.
chin's
All
out.
right,
Oh,
moving
yeah,
on.
wow.
Let's move on to something.
Okay.
Unless anybody's got something real quick.
I'm just gonna get
Nope.
going. I'm feeling pretty bad, but thank you guys.
Hey, Happy New Year. Glad you could stop
Thanks for
by.
joining.
Right,
Yeah,
Happy
thank
New
you guys.
Year.
It's been a blast.
Right,
It's
take
all right.
care. Good night.
Moving on. We talked about this briefly yesterday, but this article that I saw, as far as I can tell, pretty much proves that the nail's in the coffin. It looks like the Kilroy free speech concert may be dead in the water. It got way too many people pulling out, and
Yeah.
I
I
didn't
thought it
mean
was
that.
already dead.
No, I thought it was still somewhat. I didn't hear anything official that it wasn't going to be gone, but this seems to be like, it's
I
gone.
think it pretty much died when Dave Cullen pulled out because
Yeah,
that
pretty
was
much.
like, when he pulled out, alarm bells were ringing.
Yeah.
Who's David Cullen?
Computing forever.
Computing Forever, the Irish guy.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think we can pretty
Maybe
much
you're
at this
Irish
point
guy.
say that it's dead, and now the question is where the money go for? I'm wondering where the 85
they-
grand showed up.
Did they even at least buy a fucking kiddie pool?
I have no idea.
For the ball pit.
However,
I guess no one had any balls.
well, I'll let you go on, and then I'll add something into the end of it.
I guess no one had any balls.
Apparently not.
Oh, wow. You know what? I did not know this one. Crown T apparently is the one who doxed and got fired rage after storm from her job. Ooh.
What?
Yeah, I did not know he was the one behind that.
Oh, it wasn't her job. Yeah, she wasn't getting paid for it.
Oh, she wasn't
On
getting
this
paid.
one,
Okay, so it didn't cost her a paying job.
It was, yeah, this is just really old news, that.
Oh, I didn't know. I mean, I try to avoid drama as much as possible.
Yeah.
Like,
My dears, I'm going to go as well because I'm losing feeling in my toes again. I actually wore 2 pairs of socks this time, but it's so cold.
yeah.
It wasn't really, he didn't technically dox her because she had her information on who she was working with on her Twitter page.
Oh, okay. For me, it's kind of news. I was wondering why
Yeah.
people were calling, Kraut a doxer, but that's
But, yeah,
like the first news I found. about
Kraut's
it.
just lost his mind anyway. He's lost a lot of respect from everyone recently.
Yeah, I really like the guy. I mean, he had good thoughts, good words. I don't understand what happened. Like, other than
Yeah,
something happened after he
I've not
moved.
been. Yeah, he's just gone into the whole race realism thing, and it's, to me, I just don't give a fuck about it, to be honest.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
No, he's just gone too deep in the whole race realism thing.
I thought he was opposed to it.
Oh yeah, he is. But even still, I just don't give that much. Too
Like,
much of a
I
fuck
don't
about.
I don't understand why he hates it so much. I mean, to be honest here, everything that I've seen, it's like, okay, yeah, there's some sort of correlation here between race and IQ, but you want to know what? Your statistics are really off. Like, your methodology
Okay.
sucks. Okay. Oh, you're out of here, Gwendy? Well, Happy New Year. Catch you later.
Yes. Thank you.
Right.
Yep. Bye,
Ta-ta.
guys.
Bye, guys.
You know,
All right,
Happy
night.
New Year.
But, the thing is that when I look at it, it's like, okay, you checked somebody's race. Well, no, you actually checked a race that was a subgroup in a different country. You didn't check out of the country and in the country at the same time. You didn't check that race. You checked a subset of that race. And if you're checking like a race on a country that's been having like immigrants fleeing it for 20 years, let me assure you the most intelligent people are the first ones to go. So if you're telling everybody in the country is stupid, well, all the smart people left and went somewhere else. Duh. But it seems that IQ within a generation resets itself back to baseline as long as you keep the sample population from, self-segregating. If you track where people go, IQ actually seems to be pretty consistent. So maybe there is some sort of like,
if there is a difference between white and blacks and Asians, well, let's just be honest, Asians are probably going to have a higher IQ anyway. But,
Well, they do, statistically.
yeah. In general, I think it's pretty much really a tiny amount when you go to averages.
Yeah, I think where you get the big swings is when you've had, basically strip mining the intelligence out of a country using your immigration policy, which is what America's been doing, to like various third world countries. That's why there's pretty much a lot of stupid people there, is because we've taken all the smart ones and offered them great jobs. Who wouldn't go?
We need smart people in our hospitals, so we'll take them from wherever we can.
And the problem is, though, is that in the process, we really don't gain that much from it. But we've cost other countries so much, which costs us money in the long run. Because then we go, oh, we've got to help this poor country. No, we don't. We need to stop taking their smart people and let the smart people stay there and let the smart people fix their own country. And then we'd have a wonderful trading partner to deal with, as opposed to, Somalia. That's what happens. But I understand that Kraut made that one video where I'm like, okay, you're kind of overreacting here, but fine, you have some good points. But then after that, he seemed to like drop off the grid and like go full, I don't know, Alex Jones.
Yeah.
He became a social justice warrior skeptic, I guess
Pretty
is what I'm
much.
trying to say.
Like labeling people like what's his name now? Stefan Molyneux as alt-right because he said the arcade factor and things like that, and saying,
Oh yeah, that whole arcade
humans
thing.
don't breathe like frogs.
It's not a literal interpretation. It's a metaphor, dude. It's a metaphor.
Yeah.
And trust me, I see it here at my job. There's the people who have kids, and they focus on 1 or 2 kids and try to have 1 or 2 kids have a nice life. And then there's some clients here who have like 8 or 9 kids who get pregnant while they're in the program. And it's like, how many kids you got? Oh, 8. What are their names? I don't know. Seriously, dude?
Yeah.
Seriously? And it's like, yeah, I don't have to worry about child support because I don't have a job and I'm never going to have one. But he's going to have a lot of kids. They're just all going to grow up fucked up. You know? So genetically, he wins. Morally, he loses.
A lot of uncles.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sad reality, but it's what happens. They're both viable strategies. It's just that, I prefer one over the other. That's just me. Anyway.
I still say MTV was correct. The Idiocracy is the way things are going to go.
Actually, the Idiocracy, I watched the movie. It wasn't that bad. I mean, at the very least, they had like a black president and nobody made a deal about it. Yeah, I mean, overall, it was a pretty nice bunch of people. They were just all complete morons and couldn't tell their ass from a hole in the ground.
And who wouldn't want Terry Crews as president? Come on.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
But the point is that at the beginning, right, the smart people held off breeding, and then the dumb people bred like fucking rabbits, and the smart people, when they do try and breed, find out that their eggs don't work or their guns firing blanks or fucking whatever. Yeah. The extreme overpopulation of just absolutely dumb fucking people. To the point where they're putting Brondo on their crops.
Well, yeah, but here's the problem, though. You can't breed for intelligence in humans. I know you think you can, but the actual charting of that, 2 high IQ people having a kid doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a high IQ kid.
Well, it's going to be a more higher IQ kid than 2 dumb redneck cunts sitting in the back of bloody some trailer park somewhere who can't even afford to send 5 of the 10 kids that they've got to school.
Well, no, are you talking about actual education or actual potential? If we're talking about potential IQ, no, they're pretty identical. What makes intelligence is randomly reselected every time you recombine DNA. So you're just as likely to get it. But that's what I'm saying. You'll have the kid in the fucking trailer park. Yeah, one of those 10 kids might actually be like a hidden genius and like just happens to get books and shit and reads and all that kind of stuff. Yes, there's a potential for someone to become intelligent from nothing. But statistically, if you have well-to-do parents that lived in a well-to-do area that had well-to-do schools, your quality of education and the potential for you to get a higher education just by the sheer virtue of the fact that your parents are going to be forcing you into this kind of a world is going to be statistically higher. Oh, well, I'm sorry. I'm talking about completely without any environmental influence. If you try to eliminate all environmental influence from examining children and their intelligence relative to their parents, there doesn't seem to be a correlation between intelligent parents and low IQ parents, except in certain genetic abnormalities. There are people who have actual genetic abnormalities that are passed on that create stupid children. Okay, but there doesn't seem to be a smart gene. There seems to be dumb genes, but there are not smart genes. So you can breed down to some degree, yes, but if you're sticking with people, normal, healthy people, some are just stupid and some are just smart. It doesn't seem to be matter how you breed them. You can't breed for super intelligent children. Or at least that's what I've seen. It may, given time, that may be proven otherwise, but.
Well, I'd put it to you that your parents are your your primary instructors in your life. They're the people who you're going to learn the most off. And if my dad was a complete fucking retard, then I definitely wouldn't know half the fucking shit I do.
Yeah, I think my kids, well, if they remember the last time that I saw them, their intelligence will be Slayer!
Don't get me wrong. I think environment is 90% of the influence. Environment is a lot of influence for intelligence. Don't get me wrong, but it seems like the whole breeding for intelligence doesn't seem to work. But that's neither here nor there. Anyway, shall we move on or anything else on the topic?
Well, backtracking a little to the original topic of as when it all started. Good news for people in England, possibly. Irate Bear is looking into doing something similar in the UK.
Oh, really?
And there will be a ball pit.
Oh, that is going to be awesome. I wish I could go.
Cool. But are there going to be balls?
There better be.
How about a ball pit without balls? That'd be awesome. You just push people in.
Meatballs.
This
like balls.
is skeptic, and then you kick them in.
But we'll come over time to see how that goes, because he said he's looking into it in the next few months. And I think it can be done. I don't know how much of a reach Irate Bear has.
Well, I've never heard of him.
We'll just look on YouTube for Irate Bear and
Yeah. Irate Bear. Which one is he on a lot of? Is he on the Cunt stream? No,
he's in
not
Manchester.
No. Which one? He shows up a lot on Cunt stream, I think.
Yeah.
There's an actual channel called Cunt Stream?
Yeah, there's a stream called the Cunt stream.
And Ghost Boo Podcast as well.
Oh yeah. I mean, he does a lot of the live streaming through YouTube Hangouts. Oh, he's on the Ghost Poo podcast. I didn't know that. Oh,
Yes.
okay. I remember he's on one of those.
Jacob says, yeah. And so he's looking into something like that now.
At any rate, we're going to move on to your favorite topic here, Farty. U.S. North Korea closer to war than ever, says former U.S. military chief. Dun dun dun.
Yeah.
Dum dum dum.
Well,
Lightning.
Okay. In actual fact, right now, this is what everybody doesn't realise about the Iraq situation, is that the first Iraq war ended in a ceasefire, not an actual halt of hostilities. Same thing with Korea. This thing's been going on for 70 years now, and it's been sitting on a ceasefire, which was broken at the end of last year. We are already officially at war with North Korea. When that defector ran across the border, they fired about 40 rounds of ammunition across the DMZ. That's a declaration of war. That's resumption of hostilities as far as anything's concerned. There's another instance that happened that day as well, which is another breach of the ceasefire, which basically means that the war has already started. And that was while this bloke was being chased over the border, one of the North Korean guys actually took a few steps into the south. That is actually classed as invasion. So, but like North Korea can't really do anything. They might say they got some nuclear weapons. Now, this is another thing with that as well. It's not hard to mimic a nuclear device, especially if you can dig a giant hole and stick, say, 20,000 kilos of TNT in it, and then set it off. Some of their nuclear weapons haven't even achieved the yield of the Hiroshima and the Nagasaki bombs. So you can't really trust him there. He's all full of shit about a lot of that. Now, a lot of people don't also realise that when you do make nuclear weapons, they tend to start off really, really big. And it takes a long time for you to miniaturise them to a point where you can either put them on the top of a rocket or on an aeroplane. And I guarantee you this, he hasn't got anywhere near that yet. His Air Force is so antiquated. Their newest aircraft was, I think they started building that in 1979, the MiG-29 Fulcrum. Everything else is pretty much fucking 1 and 2 generation jet fighters, basically below the speed of sound, or say with the MiG-21, it's the basic thing. It's just a jet with a pair of wings on it. There's hardly any radar or anything like that. They're going to get wiped off the face of the earth before they even take off. Their ammunition supplies are actually being predicted to be so woeful that that most soldiers probably don't even have a full magazine on them in the rifle. You have a look at their rations. Now, I was chatting to Bob about this earlier, and I've seen a ration review from a North Korean ration review, and if it's genuine and that's like it wasn't a joke, like, and they actually get that, it's only like a little tiny handful of rice. There's 3 biscuits. One usually has a bite taken out of it, and I'll explain that in a sec. I think there's a piece of chewing gum and I think a bit of seaweed or some Asian-y stuff. But basically, yeah, it's about 5% of any other country's rations, pretty much. Also, you do get an extra bullet in the ration pack, apparently. Now, and a half smoked cigarette. Now, the reason for the bite out of the biscuit is apparently the story is that the people who work in the biscuit factory don't get paid very much. They don't eat very much, but as a part of their wages, they are allowed quality control. So they're allowed to take a nibble out of a biscuit and put it back in the pile every now and then. And same with the cigarette. You have to quality control that cigarette. Yep, you get halfway through it. Yeah, this is good so far. And that's what you get in your military rations. These guys are so emaciated and so inebriated. They are so fucking riddled with parasites and all sorts of stuff. They are not an effective fighting force at all. And in fact, I'd actually put it to the bet, right, that the first instance these Korean soldiers see an American flag and they put two and two together and they go, hang on, that's the same flag on those bags of rice that all these nasty people keep giving us. Hang on, these cunts have been giving us food all this time. Hang on, throw me gun down. Fucking give us some of your MREs, mate. I reckon that's probably how it's going to go. They're too hungry.
Oh, I do not think the war will last very long. My fear is that he's got enough fanatics along the border, and those mortar shells can reach pretty deep into South Korea. If the war starts, it's going to be over in an hour, but in that hour, how many civilians are going to wind up dead?
Yeah, well, that might be true, but that's also a part of war. I mean, people die. That's part of the whole thing, the point of war. But yeah, America hasn't been sitting there doing nothing. There's reconnaissance flights, there's satellite imagery, there's every single artillery piece, every gun position, every crossing, every break in the minefield, all of the routes that they were going to take in an invasion. They've even investigated underground, found tunnels and all sorts of stuff. That's all been marked. So the first round that goes off, basically everyone on the border goes into up in a puff of smoke. Sure, people will die. It's not going to be as bad as what everybody thinks.
Well, here's my part. I'm wondering, see, when I start seeing articles like this, I'm going like, who is pushing this whole war thing? Because I'm pretty sure North Korea isn't going to start anything. Everything they've been doing is basically sales. If they actually have nuclear weapons, which I'm not entirely sold on, but let's say they do, I'm pretty sure everything they've been doing has been trying to get into the arms business. Like, hey, are you a third world country? For a couple of $1 billion, you can have your own nuke. Made right here in North Korea, and we've got missiles for you. I've been thinking this has been more of a sales pitch than any sort of declaration of war. But that's just
it. Kind of is. It kind of is, but it'd be the worst fucking sales pitch in history because none of this shit works. None of it's ever done anything it's ever said on the tin. If you want to advertise your failures, he's doing a great job doing that.
Well, I didn't say it was logical. I said it's what it seems like to me. Anyway, anything else on Korea? Yeah,
speaking to, having watched an interview with a North Korean defector, and what he was saying about what was up there and all this, that fucking shit, and I've just blanked out. Where was I going with that? Where were we just before that?
You were talking about the defector and what he said. We were talking about how they had no food. Parasites.
Yeah.
Sales pitch.
Sales pitch.
That's right. Yeah. No, he actually explained his opinions of what Kim Jong-un is doing, and basically for the last few years, every time these people start to say, "Hey, I'm a little hungry," he kicks up a little stink, acts up like a little spoilt brat, and what used to happen with Obama was that Obama would just give him, say, 500 tons of food and say, "Shut up, you little shit, stop being a bitch." And then he'd get all this food from America and jump on TV and say, "The great, powerful, bloody lovely leader, this, that, and the other thing has gone and got the infidel to give them food for free." And they basically say all these handouts we give them are basically he's conning them out of us, pretty much. And that's how they keep up his image. That's how they're explaining all of this food that's coming in from nowhere. And fucking shit, blanked out again.
You think we're not giving them food anymore?
Hang on, it was on that. Oh, fucking hell, I hate
this.
See,
I'm curious as to whether or not we are supplying them with food, because I think if we stopped...
Yes. No. Yes, that's right. That's where I was at. Yes, we are supplying them with food, and that's right. And now what Trump's come in and UN's just basically gone, all right, I'm hungry. I'm going to kick up a bit of a stink, and they're going to, punish the spoiled brat with food. But what happened this time was Daddy Trump just put his foot down and went, no, fuck off to your room until you can curb your attitude, you little shit. That's mainly the whole issue of it, put as simply as you can. He's a spoilt, fat little brat, and Daddy Trump's not taking his shit anymore.
I personally think that giving them food is like, it's like enabling somebody. Yeah, it makes them suffer, but if we just stop giving them food and we legitimately stopped anybody from trading with them, it would probably collapse in a matter of months.
It would. And if you were going to go that route, you'd basically let the Chinese take it. Because they've already said that if...
Oh, I'm 100% behind that. I think I told you my theory of what should happen, right? Trump should send all these ships around the peninsula and act like he's about to invade. China should say, we will come in and protect North Korea, and move in their troops all over the place to protect North Korea, and then just turn around and shoot Kim Jong-un in the back of the head, and just, with their troops over there, say, we've taken over the place. And Trump goes, oh, you took it over? Oh, well, we're good. And just sail away.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they've already said that if UN gets overthrown in a coup, that China's going to invade specifically to take over all of North Korea's weapons before anyone can use them. Now, the Chinese have already got troops posted on the border, and so do the Russians now.
Wait a minute, Russia's got troops there?
Take any parts of it at all?
Eh?
Do you think South Korea will take any part of it at all? Not necessarily the weapons, but just some of the areas.
I think honestly, I think America invading would be a really dumb idea, because there's so much propaganda against Americans. But I think if we could just supply the firepower and have South Koreans invade, that North Korea would surrender. Because technically speaking, I believe North Korea thinks that South Korea is just still a part of the country. They're just stupid.
They think that the entire Korean peninsula is Korea. North Koreans don't see themselves as North Koreans; they just see themselves as Koreans. And everyone from below the border is infected by the infidel. And yes, Russia does have a joining border with North Korea, and yes, they in the last few weeks have started putting troops there. Don't know why they're doing it.
Well, it may be Trump's four-dimensional chess in play. I don't know. Well, we'll see. I think we'll get to my conclusions about 2018 later, but I think shit's going down. But we'll see. I doubt it's going to keep getting kicked down the road. If Trump could clear up North Korea before the midterm elections, that would go a long way towards boosting, popularity. But we'll see what happens.
He is definitely not. He's definitely not.
Yeah, I doubt it either.
Nah.
But anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
We're down to the last four here.
Mr. Gurr, you still here?
Oh, no, wait. No, that shouldn't be there.
Here.
Right.
We don't have as many. Hold on a sec. Is this the right page? Okay. Controversial problem of whiteness course has been reintroduced to UW-Madison. This spring, a controversial course titled The Problem of Whiteness will once again be offered at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. African Cultural Studies course seeks to teach students to understand how whiteness is socially constructed and experienced in order to help dismantle white supremacy, according to its online description. Wow, people paying to be propagandized. Thoughts?
So this is proof that the time. This is proof that time travel doesn't exist.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think by now someone would have gone back to the 16 and 1700s when the white guys were running around getting empires and all over the place, and instead of saying be peaceful with them, say, no, I'm from the future. We've had a look. Doesn't work out very well. Lock and load, fellas.
Oh no, I'm sure if there was a time machine and the social justice warriors got a hold of it, yeah, they would go back in time and shoot every white guy, including their own parents if they were white. Like, this is how crazy they are.
I was talking more of a white supremacist going back and telling the redcoats to start massacring the joint.
Oh, okay. I can kind of. Here's the weird thing. I think that the problem is actually communism. Like, the problem isn't that far back. The problem is this whole socialism, collectivism. Collectivism and socialism works in a group of like 400 or 500 people. The minute you scale it up to 4,000 or 5,000 people, or 4 or 5 million people, or a whole country, it completely falls apart. It's a matter of man hours. An economy requires so many man hours for it to be self-maintained. And in a capitalist society, everybody contributes to capitalism. At least an hour or two of their time a day to, normal transactions. When you're in a society that's run by socialism or communism, we have central planning, which means most people do not contribute to the economy. You have these central planners. To replace, 300 million people, each contributing 1 man hour a day to the economy, it's not possible. You would need millions of central planners to do the same work as the entire population of the United States. So the more you centrally plan, the less man hours to help the economy you eliminate, and thus the economy suffers.
I have one weird question.
Shoot.
If time travel is scientifically possible, who would get it first? Communists or capitalists?
Well, capitalists, of course.
Yeah, capitalists. Typically, the communists' technology has been more robust and simple as opposed to technologically advanced. So yeah, we get there with the technology first. They get there with the simple shit first.
Yeah. So if the capitalists did get to the time travel first, they would go back, and none of this shit would have happened now.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. The world would have been a lot better off with a bullet in, Karl Marx's head. Yeah, I think everybody would be better off, but who knows what would have been the result.
The worst part about the communists, though, is that most of your communists, like the scrawny little fucking weedy bloody uni student fucks who can't fight their way out of a wet paper bag, but fucking, if I was to go up and punch them in the head, I'd be considered cruel for doing it, yet they're allowed to go off and wreck the whole world.
Well, it's because they've infiltrated the media, so they've got a positive spin on things. But that's breaking down, because you can only do craziness like this so long before everybody just gets freaking fed up.
But I have met one communist or one Marxist who's not a complete SJW and doesn't subscribe to the whole SJW thing. He just thinks, the Marxist shit.
Well, and don't get me wrong, I used to be, no communism ever. No, it can work in very, very small groups. You got 20, 30, 40 people, it works. Because everybody knows each other. But there
are places... There's even a place for a dictatorship in this world, too, in the right circumstances.
Well, most militaries are technically dictatorships, and they have to be, because it's the most efficient way to run something when people are going to die if you screw up.
Yeah. Where the book stops at one person.
Oh God, well, I forgot it. There's the empathy limit. What's it called again? I forget. They did a study where they figured out the most number of people that anybody can relate to. There's a limit to how many people you can call acquaintance.
Is it something about 180 or 200?
Yeah, it's around there.
Like
it's around 200 people. Like, any group larger than that, you stop seeing them as human. It's why that, 10 people dead is a tragedy, but 10 million people is a statistic. We just can't empathize after a certain point. Communism works great under the empathy limit, Dunbar empathy limit. But above that, it completely falls apart because you don't give a shit about anybody. Oh, we have to think about the greater good. No, we don't think about greater goods. We think about people we care about. So under 200 people, you can care about 200 people. Over 200 people, you stop giving a shit. You get the tragedy of the commons, and everything falls apart. And you get Venezuela. So.
Yeah. like people that went to war in the Second World War did it for the lives and liberty of the people on their streets, not for the people in the next state over.
Yeah, they did it for their friends
Pretty
and
much.
family and for their society. But it was for who they knew, not for, oh, we got this greater concept we've got to. No, people don't fight for concepts. But anyway, moving on. Anything else on this?
Just bringing that up there. You asked earlier about the cops and all this. You probably find that the issues with the police and all this kind of stuff is because the society has been brought up seeing the police in a bad light, and they have never had the police. And you just see your normal cop. He's not your bloke up the road. He's not the fucking local down the street. He's some dude from fucking 3 towns over. Couldn't give a rat's ass about you or your mum.
Pretty much, yeah. They don't like to have local cops.
Oh shit!
Like from the
I think the decline of sheriff departments and the problem with police are correlated.
Yeah, well, that's where you get that. The difference, back in World War II, where you were saying that, the soldiers were doing it for their neighbours, their friends, their families, and the people that they actually knew. And they had that respect, but you don't have much respect for people in the military now because they are nameless, faceless people from other states, other towns. They're not your neighbours and all this. We're all not going to war in Afghanistan. All the fighting age males in Taree, New South Wales, aren't over in Afghanistan at the moment, and there is no one knocking on my door in 5 minutes saying, "Yeah, we've just pulled your birthday out of a hat, so now you're off there." And no one has that sort of respect of why some of them are doing it and all this. And that's where I can see, with the cops is a similar thing. Everyone's alienated too much about themselves, and no one's got enough perspective to understand about everybody else. Like I used to have a mad rapport with the World War I and World War II guys. I can't talk to people over the age of 60 anymore because they're all fuckwits. Because they're all the Korean War, Vietnam War generations, the draft dodgers, we want the welfare state instead of fucking having to work for ourselves and all this shit. There's those cunts.
I could understand that.
And I hate to be one of those guys ranting about it, but I think there's a definite correlation through the introduction of incompatible cultures. Let's not call them immigrants. Let's call them incompatible cultures into societies. You don't have multiculturalism. There's a term that was an old one. It was called moire. It meant the concept of a meme was originally a single idea. What a moire would be a single aspect of a culture. You can have multiple mores, but you can't have multiple cultures. You put multiple cultures together, one beats the other one self-segregates and forms a colony, or one culture is destroyed. And when you have the colony,
or they're both amalgamated into one culture.
Yeah, but you need cultures that are very similar to result in the amalgamation. That doesn't happen very often. And so the more multiculturalism you have, the less local society you have, the less you care about your neighbors. I believe there was a book called Bowling Alone. I only read a couple parts of it, but it seemed to be pretty accurate, which is we don't have bowling groups anymore. If you go bowling alone because you don't like your neighbors. You don't like your town. You don't like where you live. You don't like anybody else. You just look out for yourself. And so you don't have your local sheriff. You don't have people you give a shit about. And if you don't have anybody you should give a shit about, well, then it's okay. People just kind of shrug and don't give a shit about what's going on. This whole depersonalization of culture is what leads to problems. And it's deliberate. It's deliberate because the more you get people to turn on each other, the easier it is to control them. Because I believe in North Korea, they have every week you have to get together and narc on each other. Actual public narking. If nobody trusts each other, then nobody can work together.
Like even now, the term community, it's now referred to as something where people have something in common, where before a community was an area.
Yeah, and so we come back to the topic of this problem of whiteness. The problem of whiteness is a desire to create segregation, to have people not work together so that we have identity politics to keep people at each other's throats. And who benefits? Who benefits? Well, let me assure you, the people buying this bullshit don't. But anything else on this before we move on?
I just miss the old days where we could be racist.
Yeah. And I
To
do
be
like
honest,
the
in the old
idea
days, I
that-
didn't think racism was actually that racist. Like
It wasn't.
It wasn't. I mean, there was
There's
preferences,
racist
but I don't think it
jokes,
was.
and that was about it.
Yeah, I don't think the
I loved
racism
the
involved
90s.
actually killing somebody based on their color as much as it does today. You know?
I loved being a teenager in the 90s.
Ah, well.
Hey, did you ever get Kingswood Country over there in England?
Kingswood Country.
Yeah. Oh, Ted Bullpit.
No, I don't think so.
Well, see that's a classic example. That was in the late 70s, early 80s, right? And that was famous because Ted Bullpit used to his daughter had married a Greek kid, and he always kept referring to the Greek kid as the wog, and the wog is a fucking a racial slur for people mainly from Europe.
Oh, we
And-
had one thing like that called Rising Damp.
Yeah,
Might have been the same sort of thing, yeah. And he
Yeah,
used
and-
to, referred to.
Yeah, the bloody wog's not sitting in me chair. Nah, he can get pissed. He can piss off. Nah, the bloody wog's not taking the Kingswood. Nah, he's not getting his greasy bloody hands all over that thing. Like, and that was a fucking popular show.
That sounds very familiar as well, but it was actually one I'm thinking of. It was pretty much a piss take of him.
Mm.
Like being racist, it was just
Sounds like All in the Family.
yeah, it was basically the stereotype of the racist, and everyone used to laugh at that rather than the actual racism itself.
Well, you have a look at what things used to be like as close as like the late 80s, early 90s, right? If I had an Aboriginal mate and I had a mate from Europe and say an Asian mate, and just say they all had the same name, you know, say Tim, right? So I'd have Black Tim, I'd have Wog Tim, and I'd have Nip Tim or Goot Tim or something like that. And that's just how, like, you know, and then they used to even, they used to actually announce themselves as that. Like I've actually known a bloke by the name of Black Jay, and that's how he told me his name.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, my name's Black Jay. That's what they call me. You know, so fucking, like, it wasn't a problem. It was actually a way of, like, how we could get around it. And there's and you have a look at conversely, right, in the transport industry, one of the yards I worked at, Iplex Pipelines, we had 5 different Johns working in the yard. So there was John Lomas, or JL. There was Poof John, who liked to come around and grab you on the gonads for no reasons. There was Old John. There's Wog John, who's obviously Greek. And there's Little John, who's also Greek, but he's little.
And
So,
he's already taken the name.
Yeah. He would have been Wog John if Wog John wasn't there. So, like, that's just how we used to fucking... And they were all like that. It's like, you know, like, Wog John will go, oh, go ask Little John. Little John will go, oh, go ask Wog John. You know, fucking everybody else will be, you know, go ask JL or whatever, you know, fucking...
If it was in America, Limey John.
Yeah.
Well, if it was
well,
in
no, if it was in America,
English,
it'd be...
English John in America, Limey John. Or if it was an American,
it'd be like...
in
America... In America, like, someone would go, hey, Wog John. And the Yanks will go, hey, man, that's racist. You can't do that.
And then say, oh, shut up, Yankee.
Shut up, you seppo. Do I have to explain to the audience what the seppo means?
I've not actually heard that one before, so yeah.
Not heard that one. Make it quick. I wanna get to these last 2 things real quick.
All right. Yank. Okay. Yank rhymes with tank. Tank. Yep. Septic tank. Yank.
Oh yeah.
Seppo. Seppo. Septic tank. Yank.
Yeah, seppo.
Got it.
My
rhyming slang.
Even worse than
anyway,
Cockney rhyming slang. Yeah.
Moving on here. Black Lives Matter activist, daughter of Eric I Can't Breathe Gardner, died of a heart attack at age 27. So I'm not saying this is a good thing or a bad thing or that we should be mourning or whatever. I'm just saying that You know, it seems like to me that in 2017, Black Lives Matter finally died, or at least they have no more steam left to actually achieve anything.
Everyone stopped giving a fuck about it.
Yeah, they finally created so many racist problems themselves, and are so obviously black supremacists that people just don't give a shit anymore. And I think her dying is kind of really symbolic of the whole Black Lives Matter movement as well. You know, it's just a weird coincidence.
They only gave a shit if it was dying at the hands of cops rather than
each other.
Anything else. Yeah. And from that picture, even though it's just the shoulders up, she looks like quite a hefty girl.
This is true. By the way, who's typing?
Oh, no, it's me fucking around with something, don't worry.
All right, there's something I wanted to get onto. I mean, unless there's something else on this real quick.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I was expecting Black Lives Matter to do this. You know, that wasn't going to fucking hang around for very long.
Well, moving on here. This is something I heard about. Didn't even see it in the news. Didn't even know it happened. I heard about it third hand until, so that's why I'm bringing it up now here. Melbourne CBD attack. Alleged Flinders street driver Saeed Nouri rambled about Allah and ASIO. The part that kills me about this is the police are going, we have no proof to connect him to any sort of terrorist organization. Except that he was doing this. Okay, so he did it on his own. They're trying to make it like it's out. We've ruled out terrorism, but we're not ruling anything out. This is the summary.
Oh, hang on. Here's another little point for you as well. You probably didn't see this in the article and not in the film clip to it, but his mum comes out of court and, of course, says the exact same thing that all the other Muslim mothers say. He's very beautiful boy, very beautiful Muslim boy, very beautiful boy. Yeah, so he's a Muzo, but he's also a drug addict. Yeah, he's a real good Muslim, isn't he?
Yeah, they're saying that he's a drug addict and that he has mental problems and that's why he did it. It had nothing to do with Islam, the thing of peace. Or maybe taking drugs and being mentally deficient made you real open to the concepts of the religion of peace. And that's why you did this.
I've done some bad things that are against the Muslim faith, so what's the best way for me to redeem myself?
Yeah, unfortunately, that is what comes up. Like, I honestly believe the guy who did the Pulse shooting, that was his whole motivation, because it's not confirmed, but it was believed that the guy was gay. And his parents did not like that. And you need to be a good Muslim. So what better way to get into heaven if you're a gay man and is a Muslim than to die killing a bunch of gay men?
The funniest part about that was that the nightclub shooting, and ISIS comes out. He's a good member of ISIS, a very, very proud member, and he does us very well. What? He's gay. He nothing to us. He fucking died.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Like, the moment they found out he was gay, they're like, yeah, we have nothing to do with this guy. Nothing to do with him. Like, wow.
That whole narrative even goes back as far as the 9/11 people, because...
they were supposed to be drinking the night before.
Yeah, they weren't devout Muslims because they were out in strip clubs and things like that. It's just,
Well, for them, they believed they were about to be absolved of all their sins. So, according to their religion, go out and sin as much as you want. You're about to get cleared. So, enjoy yourself.
So, in actual fact, we've just made the realization that if you see a Muzo with a schooner of beer or a fucking joint in his hand, you shoot him over the bastard who's screaming Allah Akbar with nothing in his hands, because the devout bloke who's doing the non-devout bloke who's doing the thing wrong still can get to heaven if he goes and kills the infidel while he dies.
Pretty much, yeah. It's not the good, quote unquote, good Muslims that you need to be worried about. It's the bad ones.
Yeah, the ones that are sinning a lot, those are the ones you need to be worried about.
The ones that are fucking the white women and all that shit.
That wraps up the topics, although there is one that I wanted to bring up. It's a reiteration from yesterday, but so before we do, is there anything else you two wanted to talk about before we move on to the last topic?
Nothing I can think of.
It's something that I had a conversation with somebody else earlier today, so it's fresh in my mind, which is, I forget who it was. I think it was MSNBC. There's this woman, white blonde hair. She's been a pretty good feminist for years, but I got to see this clip of her going, maybe we've gone too far with the whole sexual harassment thing.
No
And I'm
shit.
sitting there and going, what the hell?
Say it like it's a pre-planned operation, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting there and going, you pretty much railroaded these sorts of things for 10 years now. Why are you pivoting now? And it took a little bit to figure it out.
Because people that they care about on their side are being
Oh, no, it's not that.
used.
It's not that. No. It's because it's finally reaching the point where women are getting screwed over. Okay? Men are not taking one-on-one meetings with women. Men are not mentoring women. Men are not talking to women about anything except for work. There's no jokes. There's no nothing. So if you're an ugly woman, it's business as usual. But if you're a beautiful woman who's used to flirting and waggling your hips and trying to get somewhere, because let's face facts, beautiful people get treated better than ugly people. Suddenly, if you're treated like an ugly person, how are you going to advance your career? Like, whether they like it or not, feminism has finally reached a point where they got what they wanted. They can pretty much screw over any man at any time just by accusing him. But you've got to actually have that moment where you're alone with him that you can say something happened. So if men never are alone with you again, you can't do anything. And guess what? Men are starting to figure that out. They're passing rules in companies that do not allow men and women to be alone together without a third party.
I think at one point or another there is going to be a Pence rule.
Oh, yeah. The Pence
might
rule is
actually be
spreading like wildfire. Companies are realizing that putting men and women together is a legal nightmare and possible lawsuit. So what's the best thing to do? Don't put men and women together. Don't hire women because, unfortunately, when you're looking to actually get the job done, let's face facts here, men are willing to work crazy hours to complete something, and women go, oh, well, I need time off because I'm pregnant. I hate the stereotype, but it happens, and it happens enough. And it's really starting to filter down. It isn't just the rich guys being paranoid now. It's every guy. Hell, I know I've done it myself. When I had to go into one office and I was alone with a woman, I turned around and opened the door. She didn't ask why, but I opened it. I did not go to a private one-on-one meeting with my female boss without that door open.
It will be a case where you can't have two opposite genders in the same room together alone.
And in the end, let's face facts, women get ahead because they're just better at being nice than men. Men are problem solvers. Women are great at social situations. If you eliminate all social situations between women and men, because lawsuit, let's face facts, there isn't a company around right now that isn't contemplating changing the rules. Well, guess what? You just hamstring every woman's natural inclination on how to get ahead. They're going to claim, it's discrimination not to be alone with a woman. And it's like, no, I don't want to be accused of being a rapist. And the very example that I remember on the show was the woman who's still a feminist, obviously, turned to one of the guys who was trying to say, no, that's all bullshit. And she said, what if 20 years from now, I say that you touched my leg? What are you going to do? And he just hemmed and hawed and never answered the question. But the
first thing I'd say is I'll be seconding every bloody ounce of footage from this studio before I leave then.
I mean, at this point, I hate to say it, MGTOW was kind of prophetic. It's going to happen. I listen to the MGTOW channels just to keep up on stuff sometimes. And it's like,
I'm already gone.
It's a wet dream. It is the MGTOW wet dream. They're like going, yes, it's finally happened. Women have gone so far that men don't want to talk to them at all. Great. Welcome to MGTOW brothers. Here's the new rules of the office. And it's like, I'm sitting there and going, well, they're right. I want to say all my female coworkers wouldn't do any of this shit. But the fact of the matter is I only have one male coworker at one location. Actually, at my 2 jobs, I only have one coworker. Yeah, on site. There's one here. I have only one other man. And at my other job, there's only one other man. I mean, that's not including the drivers. I'm just talking about the people who actually are assigned to the work site. So I mean, that being the situation, yeah, I don't take any chances. I don't talk to them. I don't make jokes with them. I'm pretty standoffish about it. And if anybody actually asks me, I said, look, I'm just here to do my job. I'm not here to be your friend, your buddy, or your pal. I'm here to do my job. If you need help doing your job, let me know what you need to help with the job. But, beyond that, no, I don't want to talk politics. I don't want to talk office. I don't want to talk anything. You sit over there. I'll sit over here. Let's do our jobs.
Well, I've been working my latest job about 8 weeks now. And if I really wanted to, I could probably at least count about 4 accounts of sexual discrimination against myself. Or, well, sexual harassment, should I say.
Jacob has a good point where he's wondering if this is going to go the way of that mice experiment. And I'm going to say here, no. But this is not, you're going to see the end of the moral panic this coming year. Okay? Because things are about to get so crazy. This next year, this is my final summary here. 2018 is going to be hell. It's going to be a good hell. It's going to be a hell that needs to happen, but it's going to be hell because all the shit is going to hit this year. And the reason why it's all going to hit this year is because the midterm elections is pretty much the rally for the left in America.
Yeah,
they need. They're going
to be a hell of a lot of feminists and SJWs.
The problem is they don't know what they're doing. So they're going to do some crazy ass shit.
And they're going to fuck up big time.
And they're going to fuck up big time. And then because they fucked up, they're going to say we need to try harder. They're going to double down. They're going to quadruple down. They're going to like 1 billion times down on everything. And it's just going to get worse and worse. And that's why I'm thinking this is going to be the end of the moral panic. And when the final vote tally comes in 2018, as long as the Republicans don't do anything, don't breathe, just stay the course and do nothing new, the left will destroy themselves. And you'll see, and the numbers are just right now, the numbers are not there for the midterm elections for any Democrat. The numbers are awful.
I have a big fear that some Republicans will adopt the SJW thing.
Oh yeah, there's going to be some idiots, but there's going to be some smart Democrats. I have no doubt that there's going to be, it's a bell curve, but the extreme is the one that's going to get most of the press. That's what's going to lodge in people's heads. Bad sound bites get repeated, good actions don't. So
pretty much, yeah.
But besides the 2018 is going to be a total shit show, I think that overall the long-term damage is going to echo for years. This whole Me Too movement, you're already seeing an upswing on male reports of problems. And that was unexpected by all these feminists. They did not expect men to come forward. They
didn't think we had the balls.
Yeah.
And didn't think we had the balls.
And again, once some guy comes forward and he doesn't get immediately shot down and the feminists can't stop him because, I'm sorry, you started this. If you start fighting Me Too after you started it, what's going to happen? And you saw that. Initially, there was a lot of fighting against men using Me Too as well. But that died down very quickly. So now this whole Me Too movement has got men on it too. You're going to see all sorts of crazy stuff. And what happens when you're a company and you see a potential lawsuit? You shut it down. And so these new draconian laws, which are basically going to bring us back to the 1950s in the workplace, are going to be great. Because it's finally going to take feminism and force them to look into a mirror and said, you wanted to do this without men? All right, do it without men. Let's see how well you get along without any men at all anywhere. And there's going to be a revelation in a couple of years. You're going to see, you're already seeing it. The younger generation, not the millennials, the one after them. They already see the writing on the wall. There's already changes. But in another 4 or 5 years, this is unfortunately, it's like a cresting wave. We've only just started this insanity as far as feminism is concerned. The moral panic will end this year, but the consequences of that moral panic, the legal ramifications, they are going to continue to echo, and it's going to be 5, maybe even up to 10 years before it finally reverses. So it's going to lag behind actual social consciousness evolvement, but that's just my thoughts. I don't know what you guys think.
I'm just going to quote Jacob Jimenez here. With what will come, it's seemingly more important than ever to keep watching channels like Styx. And I kind of agree, but God, I wish he didn't make, 3 or 4 videos a day to keep up with his shit.
Well, I mean, for him, it's a job. You know, I will admit, his methodology is he does it cold. He writes himself a few notes, and then he does it as a straight shot into the phone. So he's a really good orator. You know, it's way too much to keep up with, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that. I do all my videos one take, no script, and all that kind of stuff. I'm battling to do it once a month nowadays. I couldn't do it 3 times a day.
Yeah, I've not had time to do mine. I think my last video was about a month ago.
Yeah,
it's just real life and work and all that shit.
It's kind of why I moved on to doing mostly live streams about talking about stuff, because it's easier. When I used to try to plan all this out and try and make my point and write the script and all that stuff, it would take me 2 weeks to get a video out. But, you know, if I just make a couple of notes here and there throughout the day and then throw it all together, and then I sit down with some people who, like, when you guys talk, you give me time to think, and then I can reorganize my thoughts. I can jump in for 5 minutes, ramble off for a little bit, and then back off. You guys ramble for a bit, and then I have time to plan ahead the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, I don't mind this. I'd actually rather do this than just make standalone videos by myself, because this gives me shit tons of fucking material. Like, cracking some funnies while I'm talking to you guys, that's only happened because you guys are giving me that information. I never would have figured out some of those jokes if
well,
like, you know.
It's good that you can do that shit off the cuff, though. A lot of this... Well, I'm trying to get more entertainment-based rather than doing my old reply video type things, because everyone does it, and I'm just trying to make something new and just do something more, you know.
Yes, I started on this just debunking conspiracy theorists. Now they've all fucked off. So.
Oh yeah, a lot of it worked. Like, the conspiracy theorists have gone. Although I will admit, Armored Skeptic does find some choice videos from now and again that I'm just like, wow, that is some serious level crazy. You found some good stuff. I might want to do a reaction to that video, because that is so batshit. Oh, the one on Atlantis was beautiful. But, no, actually, I mean, and again, the original point of this whole series was to create a forum for people to come and join and to get their own act together and find their own rules and move on their own. I'm, you know what, and I haven't gone out and actively recruited for a while, but that's because my personal life has become a nightmare. So I do not have as much free time as I would like. But
I'm popping a select joke out of the streams just up on my channel, just so as people sort of starting to get, where the fuck did he go? What's this shit? It's this rant. Oh, okay.
But here's the thing. I mean, especially for anybody who might listen to this earlier, who actually got through the hours of this video all the way to the end here. If you are interested in doing your own videos, or you have your own channel and you just want to improve, contact us. Contact me. Come on, ramble with us. You know, if we can get enough new people, you can go make your own group to ramble. And I'll tell you how this works. If you haven't done it at least a year, there's a lot of people who won't even talk to you. It took me, I did this for almost a year, and I couldn't even get anybody to even acknowledge I existed. And then one day, everybody was talking to me, and I'm like, why are you talking to me? And one guy finally said, oh, I checked to see how long your account had existed before I was willing to talk to you. You were over a year, so I'll talk to you. If I don't have at least a year, and I don't take you seriously. And I'm like, what? And I don't know if that's a lot of people or just a few people, but it seemed to be the case for me. That, like, being here, plugging it out on a regular basis eventually got me some sort of credibility. You know?
Yeah, I didn't even know you existed until quite a while ago. I remember seeing the comments on my the 36 questions thing, saying you've been added to.
We're going on over 2. It's going to be over 2 years.
I just presumed that was a playlist that you did.
Oh, well, I've never actually done my own reaction to it, because I've found hundreds of videos.
Yeah.
But no. Oh, and I do want to say this right now. Well, real quick before I forget.
How 36 questions got like thousands of answers.
Oh, yeah, 36 questions got 5,000 answers. But if you are looking to start a channel like ours, or like everything or everybody else who's wandered through here, go look up 36 questions women have for men and answer it yourself. And the reason why is it's like a litmus test. It will either 3 minutes of video will either so enrage you that you will feel motivated to create your own video, or it won't. And if it doesn't move you, this is not for you. If watching 36 questions women had for men does not make you instantly want to make your own reaction video, do not do this. Because that is like the extreme of vote. If that can't move you, nothing will move you. Okay? You've got the wrong motivations for doing this.
Yeah, like the first question, how does it feel to be the same sex as Donald Trump?
Oh, yeah. I mean, just the first question. Every question is blood boiling. But and it's only 3 minutes. It feels like an eternity watching it. But it's only 3 minutes long.
That's because every time they state a question, well, not really a question. In some cases, they're just making statements. But that's because... Yeah, that's because you are actually physically compelled while you are watching that video to stop and yell at the fucking screen. You stupid cunt, that's not the fucking way it goes. I don't give a tuppenny fuck, I'm the same fucking gender as fucking bloody stupid bloody Trump. I'm not fucking him, you dumb cunt. Yeah, and then you got to watch the next question. And you got to spend the next 10 minutes raging at the computer. That's not like that. Oh, fucking what fucking world do you live in, you stupid bloody cow? Fucking.
Oh, and
that's why it takes so fucking
And if you
long.
want to do it easy, record yourself as you're watching it and do the pausing and have that natural reaction if you've never seen it. Because I've seen some those are the videos that are truly priceless, to watch somebody sitting there and just literally
fucking
just
what?
like just you seeing somebody just incoherent with rage. There was one video that was over 2 hours long in response to a 3-minute video. I believe it was 2 hours, 10 minutes.
God, I thought I was a boring bastard.
Well, I mean, that was from the honey badgers, so I wouldn't say it was one person. That was like a team of people.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
2 hours on a 3-minute video. Like this.
Yeah, I actually remember that one, the Badgers, and I got about 20 minutes into it, and I'm like, you're just fucking ringing the same old bell, go away.
Yeah, it was.
I do like the honey badgers, but my god, their videos are just too long to sit through.
Well, actually, that was their video that inspired me to do the supercut, going, you know what? I wish that this wasn't this long and it was just the good parts. And I said, you know what? I should put together just the good parts. And then after I got up to think of question 3, my computer died. Like I had tried to download the video, so I had a copy on my hard drive, and trying to edit that video, trying to keep track of all the videos, my Apple died. It could not take it. It destroyed my laptop. Fortunately, I had a hard drive backup, but it destroyed it. I couldn't. My backup was a little old, so I lost some work, and I'm like, you know what? I just can't get back into this. But I think my point was made. You know, someday I would like to finish it, but I would need a couple of months out of my life to do that.
Well, you see, that mightn't be really worth it, because by the time you do get finished with it, North Korea won't exist anymore, and they won't need the torture device.
Donald Trump would have retired.
Now, I will admit, I liked the Honey Badger video. It was just, as you said, yeah, parts of it were damn repetitive. But that was also because they had 4 people on at the time, I think. But all things said and done, there were some great jokes. There were some great reactions. There was some stuff. And if anybody is bored, go and look at my supercuts of the movie, of the various things. Like, it's hardly comprehensive, but I will say this. I got the best material for the first 3 questions. You know, and it is funny. It is funny as hell.
So, if you're a faint of heart or weak of bowel, fuck off now. There's your trigger warning.
Oh, yeah, I love that quote. Any rate, you know, but so as far as I'm concerned, stage 2 of the moral panic started 2 years ago, and I think it's been 2 years of moral panic. And now I think we're finally entering stage 3, where the moral panic gets so crazy, people realize it's insane.
So is it going to be anger next, and then acceptance?
Yeah, this year is anger. 2018 is
So-
going to be the year of anger. You want a name for it?
So
That's
does-
it. 2018,
so does-
year of anger.
So that means that 2019 is the year of acceptance. Is that when they just go, oh, well, fuck it, rip their shirts open and go, here, grab them?
No, what I think is going to
Was it
happen
going
is
to be bargaining?
if you want
after
my if you want my prediction in 2019 after the midterm elections, and unless a miracle occurs, the Democrats are going to get trounced. Their followers are already burned out. Their followers are already suffering from Trump derangement system. You cannot maintain rage this long without it affecting you. There's studies on that. If you maintain rage on the subject too long, you literally suffer health problems. And if they do not win in the midterm elections, if they do not have a rally, the left is going to implode. Not just the Democrats, the left as a whole. They will accept the situation and just give up. And when they finally give up, but things do not completely fall apart and the world's pretty okay anyways, they'll suddenly get this. You're going to get so many new converts. And the problem is these converts are going to be former social justice warriors. And they're going to be just as stupid as they were on the right as they were on the left. So
and in 2020, a lot of Generation Z or Z are going to be legal to vote.
oh yeah, Donald Trump's
shit.
getting reelected. The only way he wouldn't is if he got killed. And if he got shot and survived, oh dear God, his approval rating would go through the roof. It did for Reagan.
Yeah, well, you never know. This might very well happen because, like I said a while back, you've got same thing as what happened back in the 80s. You've got in England, you've got a female prime minister. You've got a fucking reformist in Russia who's wanting to work with the West, and you've got an American who's mainly famous for being on the telly. So he might get shot.
Yeah. And again, conservatives like Labour
and like
Party here is always going
like-
on about we're so progressive. Yet it's the conservatives that have got a woman leader.
Oh,
And I fucking can't stand either of them, but Jesus Christ.
oh, by the way, Jacob, actually that's happening more and more. I don't know if you've heard this phrase, but the left is so good at making conservatives. And their own insanity is
Made one
driving
out
people
of
over.
me.
Yeah, I was a leftist. I was. I
was
thought
still
everything was
being
fine until 36 Questions Women Had for Men. That was the video that when somebody showed it to me so enraged me that I actually started looking at what was happening. I remember going to the rally here for Trump, going in, hating his guts, watching what he was doing, watching the crowd, watching what the protesters were doing inside, watching what the protesters were doing outside, listening to what he was actually saying as opposed to what people were telling me he was saying. And I said, well, actually, he sounds pretty reasonable. He's not saying anything racist or crazy. And inside the left was being so disruptive and so rude. They were breaking the rules on the ticket. This was a private event, not a public event. You don't get to publicly protest at a private event. And when I went outside and I saw the protesters who were supposed to be my side, I'm like, what the fuck are these losers doing here? Who the fuck are those losers? What's going on? No, wait, no. Those aren't the liberals. No, see, I'm a liberal. What the fuck is going on? And that was the moment that I realized that I was walking around with a delusion in my head of what I imagined liberals to be, but the reality of what they had become, I'm not.
You're probably making the mistake, because we have a Liberal Party in Australia, and our Liberal Party is nothing like what Americans know Liberals as. You'd basically know our Liberal Party as a Conservative Party, I guess. Whatever the other is, whatever's the opposite. But
Republican.
But yeah, Republican. That's basically Labor. The Labor Party is the opposite party in Australia, and they want us to become a republic and a communist state and all this kind of crap too. But I'm wondering if the Labor right or the liberal ideal that Americans have is actually what Australia does have and what America thinks it's got but doesn't.
Yeah, what we think we have and what we actually have are two different things. The problem is there's people like me who for the longest time had their idea in their head, thought everybody else had the same idea and just pushed it off to the side and said, all right, that's taken care of. Let's move on. You know, unfortunately, if you don't keep track of things, things fall apart.
It's like
And
here, we've got the Conservative that are in power now, which is pretty much like the Republicans in a lot of ways. But they are pushing so far left with the social issues. It's just, yeah, they might as well be Labour.
But as I said, you're at least here in America. I don't know about the rest of the world, but I know here in America, this is going to be the watershed year. The left knows it. The left is going to pull out all the stops, because if they do not get this rally at 2018, there's no way they're going to win the elections in 2020. Okay.
Yeah, Campbell Lowe's just said, "Yeah, I'm realizing now. I thought Donald Trump was an idiot prick, but from what I'm hearing, he isn't necessarily that bad. Good for you, Campbell. Keep up that attitude, mate, because you'll fucking learn something doing that. Yeah, you changed your mind, and you're taking on advice and opinions, and you're fucking learning from it, and you're actually seeing that what you're being told isn't what you're actually fucking seeing, and you're realising that. So fucking, yeah, you beaut, mate. Fucking good on you. Fucking, yes, he is not that bad. He's actually doing quite a bit that's good for your country, and you're just getting bombarded with stupid cunts who don't like what he's doing because he's doing it right, fucking proving them wrong."
I think that mostly the problem with his opposition, the leader opposition, is they realize he is taking away their power. Yeah, that is it. This is right. You've got a bunch of power addicts, and I could get into the psychology of this, but you got a bunch of people addicted to power, and Donald Trump is taking away their drug of choice, and that's the problem.
And someone who isn't really into the politics, but they claim that they read his book, The Art of the Deal, and they basically summarized it as make as many insane demands as possible in the deal, and when it comes to negotiating, you still get it back to a reasonable sort of thing. And that kind of really makes sense, because they're saying, yeah, we're going to build a wall, and we're going to make Mexico pay for it and all that shit. It's not going to happen, but it does mean that they're going to get more security over there.
Yeah, there's a term for it. It's called throwing enough shit at the wall.
Yeah,
you throw enough shit at the wall, some of it's going to stick, and that's one thing he is doing. He's fucking scattergunning everything. Something's going to happen somewhere, and something's going to go right.
Yeah, he's going to make some ludicrous demands.
Talk really fast. Hope something good happens. Take the credit.
Yeah. Yep.
He isn't the miracle worker everybody, his loyal followers say he is either. Like, four-dimensional chess. He's got some great plans, but I personally, from watching him, am going, you are taking some big risks, and you expect to have losses, and you expect to have wins, and you adjust. He changes his mind. He does what he thinks is best, and if he's losing, he stops losing and does something new. That's why it's unrunning everybody else. He isn't addicted to power. He's not. He's addicted. He wants to go down in history. He wants to be immortal. This is what, if you want to understand Donald Trump, he wants to be immortal. He doesn't want to be immortal by being the worst president ever. He wants to be immortal by being the third best president ever. He wants to be after Lincoln, George Washington. Well, actually, George Washington, Lincoln, and then Trump. Okay, he thinks he can be number 3, and he wants to be, because that's his immortality. And in order to do that, he's going to make this a wonderful country, and that's that. I mean, it's selfish reasons, but it's his reason. So
but even if it doesn't see that in his own lifetime, in 100 years' time, when they're going through, even not regarding the exit polls of popularity and shit like that, I think he will be pretty high up.
Oh yeah, no. In the future, he will be totally vindicated. Because you can't deny the results, even without even doing anything this past year. I mean, literally for the economy, he did nothing this year up until this tax break. Okay, up until his tax plan, he hasn't done anything. But the economy still surged up higher than in any of Obama's 8 years. And Obama was telling us we should never expect more than 3% growth again. It looks like we're going to hit fourth, and this was before we got the tax plan passed. Looks like we're going to hit 4% growth without his tax plan. With his tax plan, holy crap. And I will admit, a lot of his tax plan is just right time, right place. You know, people are saying, well, it's going to cost us so much money in the future. That's assuming that everybody is as pessimistic as they were under Obama. If they're optimistic, you're going to see an entirely different economy.
At least he's not one of these presidents that's going to borrow, and borrow.
Oh, he's going to borrow money, but the problem is he's doing it with a plan as opposed to I'm just going to borrow money and he's thinking he's investing it. He's investing the money he's borrowing.
Yeah, like this is what I keep saying. Like he's building the country's infrastructure up for his own personal use afterwards. Fucking, you know, he's not going to make any money after this, and this is why everybody's also really fucking scared of him. Is because he doesn't need the power of the presidency of the United States. He's already got all the fucking power he wants. He doesn't need this. He'll still have this same amount of power after he leaves office. Like fucking the presidency is just a token sort of title for him. But fucking like with all the plans and stuff like that, the only thing that I really was paying attention to is like who was going to do what with Lockheed Martin, because that was realistically the one thing that does really affect the rest of the world. And it's costing us a fucking fortune, and Obama didn't do shit about it. And the first thing fucking when Trump gets on his tweet and he goes, hey, Lockheed, I see Boeing's got some really cheap aircraft. All of a sudden, we start getting JSFs, and the fucking price stops going up and up and up, and they finally finished their fucking research that they've been doing for over a decade. Yeah. That's why I don't
It's amazing how quickly results appear when your, sugar daddy is no longer around.
Yep.
I mean, what nationality is Lockheed Martin anyway?
Well, Lockheed Martin, they're both American. Yeah, they're both. No. They're both American founded aircraft companies.
Yeah.
There was Lockheed, and then there was Martin Aircraft. And Martins used to be known for making like flying boats and shit like that. But Lockheed did all the really, really fucking out there stuff during the first few generations of jet fighters. Like they did the SR-71 Blackbird.
The only way I know Lockheed and Martin is through, military stuff.
Yeah. So, well, they're an American company, and they amalgamated themselves like together. I think in the late '90s, early 2000s. So now they're known as Lockheed Martin, but they were Lockheed beforehand and Martin separately.
Right.
But Lockheed was the good one. They've got the skunk works. They did all the stealth shit and the SR-71, the F-104 Starfighter, which was just basically a manned missile. All the wacky shit they did.
Nice. Or scary.
Well, if you actually really wanted like a super U-Butte, technologically advanced, far in the future aircraft, you definitely want Lockheed to do it. You want the Skunk Works to do it. Yeah, sure.
So it's basically
those guys
Stark
are crazy.
Enterprises then.
Say again, sorry?
It's basically Stark Enterprises.
Yeah, that's what the Skunk Works is.
But it's not. Well, the Skunk Works mainly is their secrets, like with all their stealth stuff and the super experimental stuff. That's where the Skunk Works comes into it. But right. Lockheed as a company, it wasn't like Hughes Aviation. Hughes was actually owned by Howard Hughes, and that's where you get your Tony Stark reference from. So right. Tony Stark's actually supposed to be Howard Hughes, or Howard Hughes' son, depending on which universe you want to get into.
I'm just using layman's terms. Like.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, but Lockheed wasn't one person. It was a conglomeration, corporation, all that. And then when they took in Martins, it was still a big company kind of thing. So it wasn't, you're just not dealing with one person.
Right. See.
Well, any rate, let's see. I think at this point we've got the last time zone to have a Happy New Year in America, at least. Well, except unless you're out in Hawaii. So, Happy New Year for anybody I believe is on the West Coast at this point. I think we've exhausted a lot. We went over stuff yesterday for last year, but I think we got like the future on this episode going forward.
We've been going 3 hours. It's pretty good going.
I think we've covered just about it. Unless there's anything else new you guys want to talk about, I think this might be a good place to wrap it up.
Yeah, I'm good to wrap up now.
Anything else?
Just read out Campbell Lowe's interesting facts.
Yeah.
The Blackbird was made from titanium, which they bought from the Russians, the country of the aircraft that they actually spied on.
That's absolutely correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
the Yanks bought the titanium off the Russians whilst they were in the midst of the Cold War, so that the Americans could build a plane to fly and spy on Russia. Yeah. That's another funny one with the Maxim and Vickers machine gun, right? The Maxim couldn't sell it to the Americans, but he was told if he wanted to earn a ton of money, go and give the Europeans a more efficient way of killing each other. So he invented the machine gun. And under license in England, it was known as the Vickers machine gun. Over in Germany, it was called the Spandau. Now, a quirk of fate, whilst World War I was going on and these two countries were shooting at each other with these machine guns, Germany was actually paying licensing rights to build the Spandau version of the Vickers whilst they were actually at war with each other. Fucked up is that?
Well, that's what happens when businessmen start a war.
Yeah, it was same with the Falklands War. The only war I'm aware of where they both was it the guns that they were both using as standard was the FAL.
The FNFAL or the SLR L1A1. Yeah. The Argentines were using the FN. The Poms were using the SLR. The difference is one's an inch pattern, one's a centimeters pattern. One's metric, one's imperial. But they're exactly the same gun, pretty much.
Yeah. Shit, you know a lot more than I do.
I used to carry one.
Any rate.
Many years ago.
Well, any more political topics?
None from me.
Alrighty, well then we're going to wrap this up here.
There's three politicians standing out front of their car that locked themselves out. The first politician says, maybe we should break the window. The third politician says, no, don't be stupid. People will think we're trying to break into it. Second one says, well, maybe we should use a coat hanger. And the third one says, no, we shouldn't do that. They'll think we're too stupid to use a brick. Anyway, the first one replies again, well, we better do something. It's about to rain the tops down.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Hey, political joke.
Dun-dun-dun. Any rate, on that happy note, it's been real and it's been fun. And as the first stream of the new year of 2018, it's been a pleasure to have you guys stop by and listen. And if anybody in the future listens again, I will repeat, if you've gotten this far, feel free to contact me if you're interested in coming on the show. You know, we're a testing ground for people to figure out whether or not they want to do this sort of thing. So at any rate, I'm going to say this has been real fun.
Happy New Year from the past.
Happy New Year. I hope this is a good year. I don't think it's going to be, but I think the end result is going to be a good year.
Interesting year.
Yes, I believe that's an old Chinese curse. May you live in interesting times. We are going to live in an interesting year. At any rate,
say the same thing in India as well.
Yeah. Well, it's
Splashy spew beer, everybody.
Any closing words before we head out?
Splashy spew beer, everyone.
Shadilay, motherfuckers.
Praise Keck. How you doing?